Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Well, emergency crews are still on the scene on this crash, westbound 44 just west of 50. It looks like the right lane shut down. Traffic's just a little slow as they head by it, so no worries if you're headed that way. And watch for restrictions westbound 5570 between 203 and Exchange. Road work underway there. Next update at 6:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu have just wrapped up a meeting in Jerusalem.
Your presence here in Israel today is a clear message that America stands with Israel.
At a joint press conference, Rubio vowed unwavering support a week after Israel's surprise strike targeting Hamas negotiators in Qatar.
Every single hostage, both living and deceased, needs to be home immediately. Hamas can no longer continue to exist as an armed element that threatens the peace and security, not just of Israel, but of the world.
Netanyahu called President Trump the greatest friend Israel has ever had in the White House. In Washington last night,
Worthy is your name.
friends, admirers, and politicians gathered at the Kennedy Center for a vigil for conservative activist Charlie Kirk. National Intelligence Director Tulsi Gabbard spoke.
We cannot allow ourselves to be terrorized into silence. We need to live Charlie Kirk's example.
Officials say the 22-year-old suspected of assassinating Kirk is not cooperating with investigators. Governor Spencer Cox tells CNN someone close to him is.
The roommate was a romantic partner, a male transitioning to female. This partner has been incredibly cooperative, had no idea that this was happening.
Friends and family, Tyler Robinson, say he'd been radicalized to the left on the internet. Speaking from Spain this morning, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said the U.S. is very close to a deal with China to settle their dispute over TikTok. Trade talks between the two countries have resumed in Madrid. Some firsts at last night's Emmy Awards on CBS. Seth Rogen accepted the prize for lead actor in a comedy series for Studio.
I don't know what to say. This is so nice. Thank you. I appreciate you all. Have a good one.
Noah Wiley, nominated 5 times for ER, won his first Emmy for actor in a drama series. And Stephen Colbert finally picked up the prize for Best Talk Series for his now canceled Late Show on CBS.
While I have your attention, is anyone hiring? Because I got 200 very well-qualified candidates with me here tonight.
Can you be fat but fit? New Danish study says somewhat. CBS's Vicky Barker is at the foreign desk.
A study of tens of thousands of Danish people found those with a BMI in the overweight category were no more likely to die in a 5-year period than those with the healthiest BMI. But that does not mean you should stop watching your weight. The researchers say the health threats associated with obesity are real.
This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. We offer auto, home, and commercial auto insurance, plus a variety of business insurance options. Visit Progressive.com today.
Right now, it is mostly cloudy and 71 degrees in downtown St. Louis. The news is sponsored by the St. Louis Aquarium at Union Station. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. A daytime killing on the streets of South St. Louis. KMOX finds the suspect has been accused of a shooting involving a car before.
It happened on August 23rd on Kings Highway near the Home Depot at 4 in the afternoon. 25-year-old Kenneth Dotson is charged with first-degree murder and armed criminal action. Police say that Dotson followed, then pulled up alongside the car of 24-year-old Darian Reed and shot him. Witnesses realized what had happened when Reed's car stopped on Kings Highway. He died 6 days later at the hospital. Court records do not indicate what, if anything, led up to the shooting. Dotson was already facing felony stealing charges at the time that allege he took cash from a confidential victim. 5 years ago, a 20-year-old Kenneth Dotson from the same address was charged with first-degree assault for a shooting at Gravois Bluffs in Fenton. Police at the time said Dotson was traveling in a car with several other people, got into an argument with one of them, tried to get his gun out of a satchel, but the gun went off and struck a bystander. That 18-year-old victim was struck in his spinal cord. In the case of the killing on Kings Highway, Judge Michael Dauphin decided that Dotson should be held without bond. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Charges from the Gravois Bluff shooting were filed in December 2020. The county prosecutor's office tells us they had to drop the charges in November 21 when essential witnesses stopped cooperating with the prosecution. On the first-degree murder charges connected to the Kings Highway shooting, Dotson entered a not guilty plea on Friday. His preliminary hearing is set for October 10th.
The National Guard may be coming to St. Louis. There's no exact timeline. President Trump says he asked the CEO of Union Pacific Railroad where he should send the troops next.
Mr. Trump says Jim Vena told him St. Louis has been hit very hard by crime. St. Louis Police Chief Robert Tracy says he has not heard any talk of the National Guard coming to St. Louis.
Sometimes when things like that happen, they're not the decision of the chief of police. So if that point ever comes, I'll probably have more details on what the plan would be.
KMOX also asked Chief Tracy if he has been briefed about the additional FBI agents being sent into St. Louis and what their role would be. He said he had not received anything concrete. However,
and where we put them, probably strategically, where they can help us is in these strike forces and investigations.
Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
Also in the news this morning, it is 6:06. Republican efforts to redraw Missouri congressional districts are a violation of the state constitution, according to a lawsuit filed by a group of Missouri voters. In order to flip a Democratic stronghold into a Republican seat, Congressional District 5 has been split into 3 separate districts, one that stretches almost from Kansas City to the Mississippi River.
The lawsuit alleges the new map violates the Missouri Constitution because it specifically states that congressional redistricting may occur only once every decade based on the census, and because the new districts are not compact. They also contend that in the rush to pass this, they failed to properly allocate population between the new districts, and one Kansas City precinct may actually be in 2 congressional districts. Missouri Governor Kehoe on the new map.
We believe represents those values that Missourians have, those values that we would like to see represented in Washington, D.C.
A bill that would make the St. Louis City Sheriff's Department transport detainees to the hospital could face a legal challenge.
Or does it mandate the sheriff to take offenders to hospitals?
Yes.
A diagnostic center.
Yes, ma'am. I would refer you to the case of state.
Alderman Matt Devotie defending his bill codifying the role of the sheriff in St. Louis in front of the Board of Aldermen. Ahead of its final vote on Friday, he says there is a state statute about the sheriff's responsibility to transport detainees in cities like St. Louis.
A sheriff of a city with a population over 200,000 must transport folks requiring medical attention.
The legislation would also require that the sheriff's department submit all expenses to the comptroller's office for oversight. Attorneys representing Sheriff Alfred Montgomery have previously hinted that they would likely file a lawsuit against this law if passed. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
From the business desk sponsored by Krentz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com, the Healing Arts Center in Warson Woods closed suddenly on Friday, leaving students of the massage therapy school worried and customers who'd prepaid for massages out of luck with no refunds. The center was open for 30 years. According to the Post-Dispatch, the center's owner wrote a letter stating student records will be preserved, and for those close to graduation, they'll find a pathway to certification for them. No word on tuition refunds.
It's 6:08. We'll check traffic and weather next.
Let me tell you about this new Pretzel Cheddar Club. Hey, I'm Carlos.
And I'm Ebony. And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Pretzel Cheddar Club
is the tangy Dijon with the pretzel bun. It takes it to a whole nother level.
It goes perfectly with the chicken and the cheddar cheese and the bacon.
Man, you know how much you love bacon. And I love the different varieties. Grilled, spicy, original. It gets you nice and excited for fall.
Order the Pretzel Cheddar Club with Cherry Berry and Sprite for a limited time on the Chick-fil-A app. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
There's nothing like when you get that part from eBay and it just fits. Yeah, the first time. So you can do less of this and get right back to more of this. At eBay, you'll find all the parts you need, guaranteed to fit, at prices you'll love. Sounds good, doesn't it? eBay, things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It is 6:10. This is Total Information AM. It is Monday, the 15th of September. So let's get you updated if you're just heading out on the roadways from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center. Here's Roger Brand.
Yeah, the interstates are looking pretty good right now, Debbie. We just have that one crash. It's on the shoulder. The emergency crews left. Police are still with it because they're waiting for a tow truck, but it's westbound 44, just west of 50. I don't believe there's any lane blockage any longer, so traffic is doing okay through there. Report of a crash southbound on 61 at Highway Double K. So that's north of Troy if you're coming down that way. Again, I don't see any delays through there right now. We also have the road work underway westbound 5570 between 203 and Exchange. That's going to be out there through Thursday morning, I think 6 a.m. So overnight hours at least, but it'll impact today, tomorrow, and Wednesday's morning commute probably. Right now, not enough volume to slow you down through there, so things look all right at that point. And this is the hour. 6 a.m. is when they're scheduled to close the lane both directions on Lindbergh between Taylor and Lynnhaven, and Taylor and Lynnhaven under Lindbergh scheduled to be closed. Those restrictions start this hour, and they should last through the end of the year. Next update at 6:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We'll see a mix of sun and high clouds today. It'll be hot and humid this afternoon with a high temperature of 93. Partly cloudy early tonight, then becoming clear late, though 68. Plenty of sunshine and hot tomorrow, but a little less humid for the afternoon. The high 94. The record is 98 from 1954. Hot on Wednesday with sunshine and a few clouds. The high 93. The record 97 was set in 1931. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now, we have some mild temperatures, and again, going to be a little humid today. 71 in Florissant, 70 in St. Peter's, mostly cloudy, and 70 downtown at the Arch. Weather sponsored by Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Those people are probably saving a carload of cash right now. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
It is 6:12. Whatever the motive of Charlie Cook's shooter, extreme political ideologies are likely a contributing factor in the country's recent wave of political violence.
40 years ago, says KMOX Republican analyst John Hancock, there was a 20% overlap between Republicans and Democrats in Congress. So roughly a fifth of lawmakers were on the same page ideologically, despite being in different parties. Today, he says that number is 0. Then there's this stat.
In 1985, when Ronald Reagan started his second term, 27 states had one Republican and one Democrat members of the U.S. Senate. Today, there are just 3 states that have one senator from each party.
Hancock says the parties used to seek candidates that could build consensus and appeal broadly. Today, he says political campaigns are built on division and generating anger. Scott Jagal, KMOX News.
A native of Venezuela visiting the Gateway Arch spoke with our Stuart McMillan about the death of Charlie Kirk and what his assassination says about America right now.
Engineer Professor Ruglio Lugo from Venezuela. He's lived in the U.S. for 7 years now. I asked him for his perspective. He responded in Spanish. This country has lost a great asset, he said, a man who was willing to give his life for the construction of a new country. And I'm completely in agreement that the principal values of this country need to be rebuilt and accomplished once more. A new movement in which Charlie was a part of. Close quote.
This is a good country.
Authorities in Utah say they are searching for a motive in Wednesday's fatal shooting of Kirk. Tyler Robinson, the suspect in the killing, is being held without bail in a jail in Spanish Fork, Utah. CBS's Andres Gutierrez is in Robinson's hometown of St. George. He says Robinson is not being cooperative with investigators.
22-year-old Tyler Robinson is not cooperating with law enforcement. He has not confessed to commit assassination to authorities. He will be formally charged on Tuesday in Utah County, and he is expected to make his first court appearance that afternoon.
President Trump plans to attend Kirk Public Memorial's service at State Farm Stadium in Arizona on Sunday.
Charlie Kirk's murder was captured by countless phone cameras, and the video was quickly posted online for all to see. UC Irvine School of Nursing professor Allison Holman has been researching the effects of exposure to such graphic violence for 25 years. She says avoiding the images is difficult in the age of social media, but we can and should limit our consumption of them.
I don't advocate for people not to know what's going on in their lives. I think that people need to know what's going on in their lives, but I advocate for that conscious use of media.
She says her research has found that watching graphic images repeatedly can lead to PTSD and poor functioning even months later.
It is now 6:15.
The NFL in full swing yesterday. Let's start there. The Chiefs and the Eagles. Lots of buzz about that game. The Eagles, the Super Bowl champions, coming into Arrowhead Stadium. And can the Chiefs bounce back from a loss in Brazil? The Eagles put it on them again and held on for a 20-17 victory in a rematch of Super Bowl 59. Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley led the Eagles to victory. Both had touchdown runs, while an interception of Patrick Mahomes sealed the win in the fourth quarter. That Eagles defense was strong, holding the Chiefs to 294 yards, forcing the only turnover of the game. Philadelphia has now won 7 straight games. They are 17-1 over the past 18. The Chiefs have fallen to 0-2 for the first time since 2014, which also was the previous time they failed to make the playoffs. The other great game was in Dallas, in Arlington, Texas, with the Cowboys beating the Giants on a last-second field goal. And this one was just a tremendous football game in which the Cowboys got a 64-yard field goal and a 46-yard field goal to win it. The 64-yarder was kicked at the end of regulation, and their kicker, Aubrey, is something else. 40-37 was the final score in that one, as Brandon Aubrey kicks a 64-yarder that probably would have made it from a little bit further to send that game to OT. Also in the NFL yesterday, Joe Burrow suffered a toe injury. Looks like he could be out for 3 months. Bengals did win their game 31-27 over the Jaguars. Last night, the Falcons hammered the Vikings in Minnesota 22-6. Bijan Robinson rushed for 143 yards. The Cardinals played in Milwaukee and finally pulled out a victory. They got it yesterday by a final score of 3-2. The Cardinals bullpen bounced back after becoming leaky on Saturday. They held firm this time around. Here's manager Ollie Marmol on FanDuel Sports Network Midwest.
Going to get him back out there the very next day. Was able to talk to him after yesterday, and he was feeling bad because the way that game ended. But it's nice for him to bounce back and do what he did today, just be on the attack. Good visit there by PD to get him back on track. Good for JoJo, too. I mean, both those guys have been really good for us. They both had a little bit of a hiccup yesterday, and good to see them back out there doing what they've done quite a bit for us.
Marmol talking about JoJo Romero and Riley O'Brien in that game on Saturday. They were part of a 7 runs allowed performance by the bullpen in the last 3 innings of the game against Milwaukee. This time around, after Miles Michaelis goes 5, giving up 2 runs, John King, Jorge Alcala set the table for Romero and O'Brien to shut the door in the 8th and 9th. Cardinals home against the Reds tonight, 6:45 start. I'm Tom Ackerman on the voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM KMOX.
Hi, it's Margaret from Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano. Life is change, an election, an illness, a death, and questions. What about my family, my retirement, my estate? Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano stand ready to help you plan for your life changes. and protect what matters to you. They have listened, planned, and executed thousands of estate plans, taxes, and legal documents for over 30 years, right here in St. Louis. Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano make it easy to get started. Go to their website, yourestatematters.com, and request their free webinar. It focuses on simple legal strategies and their process. Then schedule your free personal consultation. Life is change. Plan now. Your estate matters because you matter. Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano, yourestatematters.com. The choice of an attorney is an important decision that should not be based solely on advertising.
When you want a brand new kitchen, there's nothing to it. There's a brand new way to do it. 3-Day Kitchen and Bath.
Jerry Adler had their kitchen remodeled by 3-Day Kitchen and Bath and talks about the experience.
If we had only met Darren when we started doing this construction, I would have been a lot happier girl than I am now. My husband, when he heard the 3-Day Kitchen and Bath would be in 3 days and out in 3 days, did not believe me.
Did he change his mind?
When he saw that 3-Day Kitchen and Bath came in and was gone in 3 days, he found that that was the best experience we have had. Darren worked with us on our budget so that we could have the kitchen we needed without feeling like we were completely out of our league. They were professional, cared about the other part of the house. The work is beautiful. I wanted to give them the biggest hug ever.
Top quality materials and workmanship. 3-Day Kitchen and Bath. On the web at 3daykitchen.com.
Now the news at 1 the fun. It's the Dave Glover Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Hey, let's get you to work on time, and we will also tell you if we have a cool down in store. It is mid-September after all, and we're ready for fall. Roger Brand is too, I think. He's in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, I enjoyed the cool weather we had for a little while before the heat came back, so hopefully that's going to be coming back around pretty quickly. This traffic report service of S&L Coins, Debbie. Highway is looking good. They still have that crash on the shoulder, westbound 44, west of 50, waiting for a tow truck. Not causing any problems, though. Folks are getting by just fine, which is great. I see a little bit of volume now, northbound 55 at Butler Hill, and it's a little slow between Loughborough and Virginia. They're scheduled to be doing road work already, westbound 5570 between 203 and Exchange. Right now, I don't see any delays through there. They're scheduled to have a couple lanes closed around the clock there through Thursday morning. And this hour, they're also scheduled to have restrictions in place on Lindbergh between Taylor and Lynnhaven, a lane closed each direction on Lindbergh, but Taylor and Lynnhaven underneath Lindbergh are both scheduled to be shut down. And those restrictions and closures will be through the end of the year. Next update at 6:30 from the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
S&L Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold-filled and silver plates. Before you sell, call S&L. 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. S&L Coin.
It is going to be hot and humid today, a high of 93 degrees, sun through some high clouds, partly cloudy early tonight, then clear late, low 68. Tomorrow, more sun, more heat. Not as humid in the afternoon, but it'll be hot. Make no mistake about it. 94 for tomorrow, 93 for Wednesday, 93 for Thursday. Currently, we have a mostly cloudy sky, 70 downtown at the Arch.
Well, as we continue on KMOX, of course, your innovation station, Michael Calhoun with you, and we're introducing you to some of the health startups that you're going to be hearing about, maybe the products that you'll encounter when you go to receive care, part of the BioSTL Global Health Innovation Summit taking place here in St. Louis. And we've got a startup now that is helping get the right specialist to you when you get to the ER. We've got Dr. Kevin Weiss, the founder of Apogee Care, with us on KMOX. Thank you so much for being with us, Dr. Weiss.
No, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Excited to be in St. Louis and helping take care of the people here that live here.
Yeah, so tell us about Apogee Care. What is this startup focused on?
Yeah, so this startup is focused on making sure that when patients go to the emergency department, especially the ones that have lots of medical problems and might not have an exact emergency at that moment. They're not having a heart attack or having a stroke. Thank goodness they didn't just suffer physical violence. But their doctor said, you got to go to the ER and get checked out, or they don't know where else to get care. We're focused on making sure that we meet them at the front door of that ER, get them the specialist referral that they need right then, like see a geriatrician if they're older, right at that front door of the ER, so that they can get the right diagnosis, get the tests that are needed, and get home as soon as possible, whenever possible. we're there for the folks that when they go to the ER and their heart sinks to the floor, or your mom calls you and says, hey, my doctor told me I have to go to the ER because they can't fit me in. We're there to make sure that when your heart sinks to the floor, your next thought is, but wait a second, our hospital has Apogee Care. It's going to be all right. They'll get us through there and get the care we need and get them home.
So this doesn't sound like it's necessarily, an emergency you're going to the ER, life or death necessarily, but it's, you talk about not being able to get in, and it's something that kind of needs more immediate attention. And so for a lot of people these days, the only option in that kind of situation is to go to the ER, and they know exactly the situation you're talking about.
I'm afraid that's exactly right. I've gotten to work with over 500 emergency departments in the last 6 years, not just with Apogee Care, in the last 10 years, not just with Apogee Care, but with all the work that we do. And everybody gets it. If we were having this conversation at Panera, the table beside us would turn around and say, like, oh my goodness, I'm so glad you're doing that because I brought my Aunt Marge to the ER and gosh, it was really tough. She was there a really long time. We're not sure she got what she needed. So, but you're right. So hard for almost anyone. If they had to be seen by a doctor this afternoon, they're in urgent care. Where can you get that done? And so you end up in the ER. We're there to make sure you get the right care when you show up in the ER in a timely fashion so that you can get home treated correctly as soon as possible.
It's always interesting to hear how, founders of startups came to the idea, how they came to identify the need and figure out, hey, I can actually do something to help alleviate this. And so as a physician, are there any anecdotes or specific instances you can recall where you thought, I can fix this?
Absolutely. I was first of all, almost every day when I walk through my hospital, I look around and look at the hallway and I see like 10 or 15 patients that have come there from skilled nursing facilities or assisted living centers. Or when the daughters call me on the phone and like, my mom's been there for 5 hours. Can someone please help her? She's been lying there. I think, my goodness, this is not okay. This afternoon by about 5 o'clock, there'll be between 5 and 10,000 older adults lying in the hallways of emergency departments waiting to get care. In our country, this is not okay.
You're here for the BioSTL Health Innovation Summit, and I'm curious, before coming for this, what was your kind of impression, your mental, image of St. Louis and the startup and the healthcare industry scene here, and how has it changed since you've been here for the summit and you've kind of experienced it?
I'm going to say one more story before I go there, and then I'm talking about how great BioSTL is. 3 years ago, I saw a patient, 72-year-old woman. She'd come in there because her stomach had hurt. She waited in the waiting room for a long time in the ER. I work in the ER. And then they ordered her a CAT scan. And so by the time I saw her, she'd been there like close to 10 hours. And I came in her room to tell her that her CAT scan was okay, that the abdominal CAT scan looked okay. And so she could probably go home. The blood test looked okay. And I was giving her my speech of, I'm not sure why your stomach's hurting, but everything looks good. And she looked up at me and she said, oh, good. So I don't have colon cancer like my sister just died of. The point of this story is because the ERs are so busy, they don't take the time to ask patients when they arrive, what's really on your mind? What's really worrying you? Because if we had asked her that, we wouldn't have gotten a CAT scan. We would have sent her home in the first hour she was there and set her up with an outpatient visit to make sure she didn't have colon cancer, because a CAT scan didn't answer that question. We did the wrong test, and she took 10 hours of her time and a lot of money to get that done because we never asked the right questions. So when you asked me before why Apogee Care, it's to make sure that these patients, when they hit the ER, they're seen quickly with the amount of time and dedication to get them the right care that they need and then get home whenever possible.
It is 6:28, and the time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
There's something that you should do, no matter how old you are, especially if you have a family and children, is to get your affairs in order. This is actually a favor that you are doing for your family, your loved ones, and your children. I recently moved my mother to St. Louis, and we have gone through this process of going through her things because, well, we're talking about wills and trusts, durable or medical power of attorney, very important things to have ironed out. And if you haven't gotten around to this, call the Yansky Law Firm. Yansky Law can help with things like pre-crisis and nursing home planning. Martin Yansky has 30 years of experience. And when you call Yansky Law, you are going to talk to someone who is going to walk you through this process and tell you what you need, because maybe you don't need what you think you need. You just tell them your situation, and they're really great folks to work with. Asset protection, business planning, trust and probate, advanced estate planning. They can do all of that and more for you at Yansky Law. It's spelled with a J because it's like Jansky. So Yansky Law is Jansky, yanskylaw.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisement. Yanskylaw.com.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install a Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
This is Mason Wynn of the Cards. Community America asked me to tell you what it feels like on Profit Payout Day, when our members get a portion of the profits. I'm thinking it probably feels like opening day. Exciting, new, or even better, I bet it feels like playing the star shortstop who turns a game-winning double play. And the fans go wild. They ask for selfies with you and autographs. You get a lifetime supply of free stadium hot dogs. Yep, that's basically what it feels like when you get your profit payout. Community America Credit Union, invested in you.
At 6:30, mostly cloudy sky, 70 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Tom Ackerman.
I'm Debbie Monterrey, and here is Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, they're still out there on the shoulder on westbound 44 just west of 50, where we had a minor one-car crash earlier. So folks getting by just fine, but still flashing lights, waiting for the flatbed to come hook up and get them out of there. Northbound Highway 55, you've got a little slow traffic at Butler Hill, Madison, the right lanes, and from Bayless up to River to Pear looks a little busy. North 270, some slower traffic, Clayton Road up to 64, but not a jam. We do have a backup, though. Northbound Tesson Ferry from about Merrimack Bottom up through Hageman. It's pretty solid bumper to bumper through there. Eastbound 30, Mauer to 270. That's a little slow. Southbound 61, Wentzville Parkway into 64. There's a little volume there. Double F at Oakmont. They were dealing with an overturned, I think it's on Oakmont, overturned vehicle crash in Franklin County, south of 44 there. I don't see any delays. I do see a little bit of a backup once again. Northbound Route 3 approaching Queenie. Could have a train crossing there. There's a little slowdown on 5570 westbound, west of 111 and right into 64. They're doing road work in those areas. Next update at 6:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sunrise at 6:42 this morning. We have sun through high clouds, hot and humid, high 93 today. Tonight, partly cloudy early, then clear late, low 68. And for tomorrow, mostly sunny and hot. Not as humid in the afternoon tomorrow. A high of 94, though. Currently, it's 70 in Florissant, 70 in St. Peters, mostly cloudy, 70 downtown at the Arch.
It doesn't matter, urban or rural, everyone is facing this similar set of challenges.
That's Missouri Senator Josh Hawley on fire departments across the nation and in Missouri not being able to get the fire trucks and equipment they need.
Fire departments today are lucky if they can get their hands on engines that are 20 or 30 years old.
President of the International Association of Firefighters, Edward Kelly.
We are facing a crisis across the United States that's been building for close to 20 years.
Kelly says too many cities and towns are asking firefighters to operate with old, broken down, or even non-existent fire apparatus.
People are being grabbed and they're being thrown into vans. And that's different than questioning people.
Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker speaking out about the tactics of ICE in Chicago. He tells NPR he's concerned that the vast majority of people being detained are not criminals, but rather individuals who may have partial documentation or are undocumented.
I want to ask a question to everybody who's listening and to you. Do you carry with you citizenship papers? How do you prove to somebody that you're a U.S. citizen? Your accent? The color of your skin?
Following his remarks, Governor Pritzker's comments were met with criticism from the Department of Homeland Security and others who support the federal immigration operations. They maintain that the surge of agents named Operation Midway Blitz is aimed at detaining the worst of the worst criminal illegal aliens who have flocked to Chicago due to its sanctuary policies.
Illinois officials from both sides of the aisle remembering former Governor Jim Edgar, who passed away over the weekend at the age of 79. Current Governor Pritzker described him as a mentor and a model public servant. Former Governor Pat Quinn praised Edgar as a good and decent man who cared deeply about the state. Illinois Congresswoman Nikki Budzinski, a graduate of the Edgar Fellows Program, highlighted his ability to bring people together and find common ground. Secretary of State Alexei Janulius echoed those sentiments, noting Edgar's focus on civility, compromise, and compassion.
The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. 10 minutes away from sports. Coming up next, your money report. It's 6:35.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Well, if you can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence, Banner is an elite preferred James Hardy contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation today, 314-569-1050. Now hiring qualified carpenters. BannerConstruction.com.
That baby's gone!
Cardinals fans, FanDuel Sports Network is your home of the Cardinals.
That ball was mashed.
And there are more ways to watch this season.
Holy cow!
Subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network to stream the Cardinals without blackouts.
How about that play?
Or watch through a TV provider.
Incredible!
Including DirecTV, Spectrum, Xfinity, Fubo, and more.
He got it!
Learn more at cardinals.com/TV.
Ball game! It couldn't have worked out any better for the Cardinals.
Ah, fall is here. Baseball, beautiful weather, and the changing colors of trees and shrubs. When you think of your trees, call family-owned Gamma Tree Experts. Fall is a great time to prune and fertilize your valuable trees. Our staff of certified arborists will survey your trees to determine their needs. Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation. Call Gamma Tree Experts at 314-725-6159 or visit us at gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
It is 6:36, and it's time for your money report, which is sponsored for you by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. We get the latest from Denise Pellegrini.
Good morning. Growing number of Americans are using those buy now, pay later options or credit cards to pay for things. And Bankrate says you might want to read the fine print if you're one of them, especially for retail credit cards. The average retail credit card charges more than 30%, the second highest APR since tracking began in 2008. Speaking of interest rates, the Fed is widely expected to cut interest rates when it wraps up its two-day policy meeting Wednesday as the job market weakens. Some traders expect a quarter-point rate cut. Others think the Fed could cut more or cut again and again later this year. President Trump is predicting a big cut today. And have you ever been on a plane and smelled something like Cheetos, a wet dog, or nail polish? Doctors tell the Wall Street Journal they've been treating some pilots and flight attendants for brain injuries after exposure to toxic fumes on aircraft, with thousands of fume events since 2020. The paper says leaks occur when the air in an aircraft has been pulled through the engine, and occurs in many modern planes except the Boeing 787. The FAA says the incidents are rare. The Journal says reports of fume events are rising. With your money report, I'm Denise Pellegrini with Bloomberg Business on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight. We are focusing on the Siteman Kids program at St. Louis Children's Hospital, and joining us is Dr. Mohammed Abdul-Baki.
Any program around the country that has neuro-oncologists specifically trained in neuro-oncology, this is where I would look for a second opinion. And of course, if we're talking about St. Louis, we are the top program in Missouri that has trained pediatric neuro-oncologists. In addition to expertise in neurosurgery, radiation oncology, we have the latest proton therapy facility here at Siteman Cancer Center, endocrinology, neurology, rehabilitation medicine, ophthalmology, dermatology. So there are so many specialties that you need to have in order for you to be to have comprehensive care for your child.
Thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, go to siteman.wustl.edu.
Your home equity could vanish almost overnight, stolen by scammers who forge a deed and transfer it out of your name. The FBI calls it house stealing, and the worst part is you may not know it until it's too late. Find out if you're already a victim now at HomeTitleLock.com. Use promo code RADIO for a 30-day free trial, a title scan, and access to a title specialist, a $250 value. Go to HomeTitleLock.com now. Promo code RADIO.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Hey, it's Matt Pauley for i3 Broadband, the internet provider in the Pauley household. I think you'd love it if you had them as well. We've got the 2 gig package at our home, 2 gig upload, 2 gig download mirrored, and we're spending less money than we did with the cable company for lesser service. Plus right now they've got savings over $400 beyond their already low standard pricing. You got questions? They've got answers. Call 877-976-0711 and they've got people there who can answer all your questions, or head to their website i3broadband.com.
Protect your liver and give it the support it deserves by making Active Liver from New Nordic part of your daily wellness routine. Find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS, Meijer Grocery, or online at Amazon or at newnordicusa.com.
640, Roger Brand. What are you seeing out there overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center?
Well, some slow traffic, obviously, Tom. If you're heading out the door right now, this traffic report service of Saks Financial on the south side. You've got slow traffic, just a little busy at Mattis on North 55, but it's bogged down from the Union Road overpass all the way up to River to Pear. Northbound Tesson Ferry, Merrimack bottom through Hageman, not a solid jam, but it's busy. Eastbound 30, slow Mauer up the hill to 270. Northbound 270, Doherty Ferry to Manchester, and then it's jammed north of there up toward 64. Looks like we have a crash just south of 64 now on North 270. Southbound 61, a couple of spots. P down to Wentzville Parkway, it's slow through the Winghaven area, but after that, not bad. And on the Illinois side, northbound Route 3 jammed from Jerome up through Queenie into that area. Looks like maybe a train crossing. And 5570 west of 111 heavy, and then approaching 64. Next update at 650 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Hey, it's Jeff at Saks Financial. I got a free event coming up to maximize your Social Security, September 22nd and 23rd. Come meet me in person and find out how to maximize your Social Security. Sign up at retiresafestl.com/events.
Let's get you caught up on your weather. I know you're probably hoping you open the door and you'd feel some nice, cool fall weather. It's mid-September. No such luck, but we get the latest from Joe Lundberg, our AccuWeather meteorologist.
No, unfortunately, if that's what you were hoping for this morning, you're out of luck, because it is going to be another toasty day today. We're starting out in the low to mid 70s. We're on our way to a high of 93 today. Not as hot as yesterday's 98. There'll be a few more clouds around, but it's still going to be hot and it's still going to feel humid. Tonight, partly cloudy early. Then it does clear up late tonight, though, 68. It'll be sunny and hot tomorrow with a high of 94. The humidity backs off a little bit. Again, 94 tomorrow, 93 on Wednesday with more sun than clouds. Pretty much the same story Thursday. Front moves in on Friday, and with it, more clouds, a chance for a shower and thunderstorm or two, the high in the mid to upper 80s, and then maybe not so hot as we go to the weekend. 71 in St. Peter, 72 in Florissant, partly cloudy, 73 downtown at the Arch. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It's 642. This year's Emmys had not one, but three big surprises.
At the 77th Emmy Awards on CBS, history was made 3 times. Severance star Tremel Tillman became the first Black man to win supporting actor in a drama.
Mama, you were there for me when no one else was.
15-year-old Owen Cooper was the youngest male to win in an acting category.
I was nothing about 3 years ago.
And Seth Rogen's The Studio made history by winning 13, breaking the record for the most awarded first season.
I don't know what to say. This is so nice.
Cooper Lawrence, CBS News.
Welcome to the 77th Emmy Awards. You know, it's not a big one like 75 or 80, but it's the one they gave me.
That's Nate Bargatze. CBS's Dina Demetrius says the Emmy host wanted to keep the show moving along, so he came up with the idea of creating a charitable money pool benefiting the Boys and Girls Clubs of America, and the amount of money donated depended on the length of the winners' speeches.
For every time any winner went over their allotted time for their speeches, they would take away from the initial $100,000 pot. And anytime people were short on their time, he was able to add money in, and they ended up with a negative amount of money. But between CBS and Nate himself picking into the pot at the end, by the end of the show, they said they would donate $350,000.
Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba Infinity Castle earned $33 million in its opening day. That's the biggest opening day domestic gross ever for an anime film. It also set a record for biggest opening weekend ever for anime. The movie is the first in a trilogy of films inspired by the Japanese animated series. Stacey Lynn, CBS News.
I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill. And I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill.
Well, we learned so much from Schoolhouse Rock, didn't we? We don't have Schoolhouse Rock anymore, but a new survey finds that American adults are more knowledgeable this year in answering basic civics questions. 7 in 10 can name all 3 branches of government, that is executive, judicial, and legislative, which is actually up 5% from last year. There's also an increase in people who know what the First Amendment guarantees for the American people. On the flip side, people are losing their trust in the Supreme Court to act in their best interests.
Runner at first, 2 outs, the pitch. Swing and a miss for a Redbird winner. That was picked out of the dirt by Pajes, tagging Frelick, and this ball game has come to an end. A 2-hour, 51-minute game goes to the Cardinals by a final of 3-2.
And they avoid getting swept on their road trip. The Cardinals lost 3 games in Seattle, the first 2 in Milwaukee, but they capture one yesterday on KMOX, a 3-2 victory. The Cardinals getting good pitching out of Miles Mikolas, even better pitching out of their bullpen. Mikolas allowed 2 runs on 5 hits, didn't walk anyone, struck out 5. John King, Jorge Alcala, Jojo Romero, Riley O'Brien. 4 scoreless innings to follow to beat the Brewers 3-2. This was significant because the night before, the Cardinals gave up 7 runs in the final 3 innings, 5 of those given up by Romero and O'Brien.
Could have got him back out there the very next day. Was able to talk to him after yesterday, and he was feeling bad because the way that game ended. But it's nice for him to bounce back and do what he did today, just be on the attack.
Talking about O'Brien specifically there, Ollie Marmol on FanDuel Sports Network Midwest. The Cardinals are back home for their final homestand of the season. They'll play the Reds and then the Brewers. Tonight's game begins at 6:45 right here on KMOX. It's also the start of Blues training camp, September 18th, this Thursday. The full squad will be skating at Centene Community Ice Center. GM Doug Armstrong.
Yeah, we'll have our 2 groups on the ice on Thursday and Friday. Then we'll jump right into a couple quick exhibition games in Dallas and in Columbus. And I know the coaches are excited. This is the hardest time for, quite honestly, coaches and management. You're here, you're in town, you're ready to go to work, and you just have to sort of pull the reins back, and it's still summer mode for the players. But as they're gearing up now, I think everyone's excited to get through the medicals and the first day of media responsibilities and content day and all those things, and get ready to get on the ice and assert themselves on where they want to be in our organization.
The marquee football game of week 2 was the Eagles and the Chiefs, and Philadelphia goes into Arrowhead Stadium and wins it. Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley led the Eagles to a 20-17 victory over the Chiefs in a Super Bowl rematch. Hurts and Barkley each with touchdown runs, and Patrick Mahomes was intercepted in the 4th quarter that helped seal the win for the Eagles. They had a very strong defense, holding the Chiefs to just under 300 yards total, 294 total yards, and forced the only turnover of the game. Brandon Aubrey kicked a 46-yard field goal as time expired in overtime after a tying 64-yarder to end regulation. The Cowboys beat the Giants 40-37. Joe Burrow left the Bengals locker room on crutches with a boot on his left foot after injuring his toe during the 2nd quarter of Cincinnati's 31-27 victory over the Jaguars. It does look like after seeking second opinions on the injury, we'll know more, but initial diagnosis is that Burrow could miss up to 3 months. Well, Who's Hot, Who's Not is brought to you by St. Louis Composting. We're into the fall season, although it is hot out there today. Just know that St. Louis Composting is ready for fall. They have a couple of ideas for you. First, you can give your pumpkins to them starting in October. Don't just throw away your pumpkins when you're finished with them. Go to stlcompost.com, one of their 9 locations, and drop them off. And you'll receive a $10 coupon on your next purchase, a little discount, a little reward for turning in your pumpkins. As well as they have great ideas for your garden and for your landscaping this fall: compost, mulch, soil, bag products. They have it all at stlcompost.com. They have that very popular Missouri Botanical Garden soil that everyone's starting to buy. They have bags of that at stlcompost.com. You can actually have it delivered online, have it delivered to your home. Just order online, stlcompost.com. St. Louis Composting, growing gardens, making memories.
Hey guys, Kevin Wheeler here for 213 Complex, which you can pick up at Supplement Superstores. With school back in session, you're into a new routine. That routine's going to last. Make it a fitness routine as well. I know that's what I'm doing in advance of the holidays, and I'm using 213 Complex to get it done, because what I'm getting is all-day boost to the metabolism, 24 hours a day. I get appetite control, which is huge for me, and all-day focused energy that comes with no jitters. So for you, just go to Supplement Superstores, tell them Kevin Wheeler sent you in. They will give you 30% off the 213 Complex. Find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
You know, despite what we hear in the news, the world isn't all bad.
That's right. A little kindness can go a long way, like holding the door open, sharing a compliment, or just being polite.
It doesn't cost a thing, but it can mean everything to someone else.
So let's all do our part, one small act at a time.
Because kindness is contagious.
The Chris and Amy Show, spreading kindness. In partnership with Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electrical. Total Information AM. The news continues on 104.1 FM KMOX.
All right, at 6:50, let's get you caught up on traffic and weather, starting with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we got trouble on North 270 right now, Debbie. This traffic reports the service of Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm. I mentioned in the last report, northbound 270 is fine down south, but you run into slow traffic north of 44. And by the time you get to Manchester, it's a solid jam. We have a crash. I believe it's in the left lane, sort of hard to see, but it's just about midway between the Clayton Road overpass and 64 on North 270. So the jam and the delays are getting longer there. If you're on eastbound 64, it's a little busy, 364 into Winghaven. If you're on eastbound 30, Mauer to 270 is pretty solid. Northbound Tesson Ferry up through Hageman looking better than it did 10 minutes ago. Northbound 55, Union Road overpass up the river to Perry, you've got the typical delays. Eastbound 70 past Highway A is a little slow. And on the Illinois side, westbound 5570, 111 most of the way into 203 is heavy in that construction area. Next update at 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we are more than just a law firm. Our attorneys are committed to you, your business, and your community. We are ready to serve you in the areas of business litigation, intellectual property, health law, and products liability. SandbergPhoenix.com. The choice of lawyers is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
Weather, sun through high clouds, hot and humid, high 93. Partly cloudy early, clear late, low 68. Mostly sunny, hot, not as humid in the afternoon tomorrow with a high of 94. Wednesday, high 93. Thursday, high 93. Friday, we may get a thunderstorm. I haven't heard about rain in a while. That could happen on Friday with a high 84 to 88 degrees, says AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Right now it's 6:52 and the temperature on a mostly cloudy sky is 70 degrees.
It is now 6:52 and it is time for us to check in with our CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger. And Jill, will they or won't they, and what will they do? Will it be 0.5%, 0.25%, or I don't know. I don't even know anymore, Jill. What can you tell us?
Well, she must be having some trouble hearing us on the phone as well. We will take a quick time out and do birthdays now.
This is the best birthday.
And happy birthday to Joe Fisher of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Joe, we hope you're having a great day. We love your partnership with the radio station.
Birthday shout out is sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back, family owned and top rated, RennerDoorSTL.com. Happy birthday wishes going out to Terry Patrick from the Spring family. Also, Carol Ann Vetter Zimmerman. Happy birthday to Vicky Gurley, Don Hanser, Pat Schuchart, Maureen Moore, and Amy Drummond, all celebrating today.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. YourEyeDoc.com.
Celebrate the month of September with Zero Res and get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $129. Take $75 off your air duct cleaning as well. Book online at ZeroResSTL.com and take advantage of these huge savings. Spell it forward, spell it backwards. Always spells the same, Zero Res.
Let's check in with Jill Schlesinger, see if she can hear us on the phone now. Can you, Jill?
Hello. I just was
Oh.
laughing because I literally heard the like intro and then it flipped out a second. But I was like, oh, she sounds exhausted from the Fed already, and it hasn't even been, the meeting hasn't started. So I want to make it exciting for you guys. Okay. Fed's going to cut interest rates this week. I mean, it's not 100%. I'll say 99.5% we get an interest rate cut. It will probably be a 0.25 percentage point. But, it wouldn't shock me if we got a half. It wouldn't be like, oh, my God, what are they doing? So what does this mean? It means if you're a saver, you're going to make a little less interest. If you're a borrower, it's going to cost you a little bit less to finance things. But what it also means is the Fed is concerned that the labor market is really starting to weaken. It's not falling off a cliff. I don't want anyone to hear that. We're not in a recession right now. No indication of that. But, the job growth has slowed down. And that is likely going to catch the Fed's attention more so than the fact that tariff price increases are starting to creep into the economy.
All right, before we let you go, we need to know what's going to be happening this week. It's been pretty tumultuous news-wise, but other than, the Fed's decision, what else are we looking at?
I have exciting breaking news for you. Tomorrow, it will be retail sales, and it is exactly 100 days until Christmas. 100 days till Christmas. Can you believe I said that on the air? This is your nice Jewish girl from New York reminding you that Christmas is going to be more expensive this year. I know that people understand that in their heads, but I really would say it's important to try to get out ahead of this, that put some things in your shopping cart, keep an eye on prices, because a lot of those toys and games and that stuff that you want for your kids, it is likely to get more expensive this holiday season. So now's a good time just to be like the anti-procrastinator. Get ahead of this.
Jill, we're so glad we made the connection with you. What would we do without you? We appreciate it.
And you. Take care.
It's 6:56.
Let's go!
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at VaxAssist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
Our office computers were from like 2012.
What? They had computers then?
Yeah, I don't know much about new tech.
Apparently.
So I went to Staples and saved big on an AI-powered HP laptop and HP OfficeJet Pro printer, which also came with 3 months of free instant ink.
And we're back in this century. During Staples HP Tech Event, save up to 35% on HP printers and up to 40% on AI-powered HP PCs.
That was easy.
In-store, online, and on the app. Until 11/1, select models only.
It is 6:57, and a bill heading for a final vote in St. Louis City this week would write into the city code the sheriff is responsible for transporting detainees to the jail. Defending the bill against questions over its legality is its sponsor, Alderman Matt Devote, who is confident in its standing.
We cited precedent with respect to Sheriff Montgomery's predecessors and how they've handled the detainee transport issue.
Attorneys representing Sheriff Alfred Montgomery have told KMOX they would likely file a legal challenge against this law. If it's passed and signed, the full board of aldermen will take it up at their meeting next Friday.
It's 6:58. Let me tell you about McKelvey Homes, McKelveyHomes.com. Move up to McKelvey. McKelvey Homes, located here in St. Louis and has been since 1898. That would make it Missouri's oldest home builder and the most trusted and the best. McKelvey Homes, the most experienced home builder in the state of Missouri. They have been doing great work throughout St. Louis County and St. Charles County. Some of those homes and neighborhoods that they've picked out are just spectacular. Once you go to McKelveyHomes.com, you can find all of them. You can just scroll right through them and check out also great pictures of the interior, kitchens, great rooms, bedrooms, the photo gallery at McKelvey Homes. McKelvey Homes, a long-standing tradition of quality craftsmanship and exceptional value. They're committed to the highest standards of excellence. McKelveyHomes.com. Where do you want to live? Move up to McKelvey. Let's get to Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Tom, they were working to clear this crash on northbound 270 before 64. It was in the left lanes. Traffic looks like it's moving a little better, but North 270 still has slow stuff through Gravois and then a backup from about Big Bend all the way up to 64. So it's pretty solid most of the way through there, but it does appear to be moving a bit better. Eastbound 64, you're on the brakes. East of 364 through Winghaven. After that, it looks like you're in pretty good shape. Northbound 55, the usual slow traffic from about Bayless up to River de Pere and downtown on the Illinois side. Westbound 5570, still a little slow west of 111 in that construction area. Next update at 7:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Mid-America's most trusted voice for news. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is the CBS News World News Roundup, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Secretary of State Marco Rubio met Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Jerusalem this morning.
The American-Israeli alliance has never been as strong as it is now.
Rubio stood firmly in Israel's corner and insisted Hamas was emboldened by Britain, France, and other allies' recognition of a Palestinian state.
Hamas needs to cease to exist as an armed element that can threaten the peace and security of the region, and the people of Gaza deserve a better future, but that better future cannot begin until Hamas is eliminated.
I'm Vicky Barker at the Foreign Desk in London. It is Europe's most watched entertainment show, that annual celebration of pop music, the Eurovision Song Contest. But now at least 5 member nations have threatened to pull out of next year's event if Israel is allowed to compete. The European Broadcasting Union, which organizes the contest, will make a final decision at its General Assembly in December.
A vigil for Charlie Kirk in Washington.
Heavens are roaring.
Hundreds lined up at the Kennedy Center to take part in a remembrance for the conservative activist as new clues emerge in his assassination. Correspondent Carter Evans from the Utah County Jail.
In a series of television appearances Sunday, Utah Governor Spencer Cox, a Republican, said the suspect's friends and family claim he was radicalized to the left. State records show the alleged gunman was registered as unaffiliated and did not vote in 2022 or 2024.
I really don't have a dog in this fight. If this was MAGA and a radicalized MAGA person, I would be saying that as well.
Cox also noted the suspect had a roommate who was a romantic partner and said the FBI confirmed the roommate is transitioning genders. He added investigators have not determined if that's relevant to the case.
22-year-old suspect is due in court tomorrow. The White House wants to increase protection for itself and courts in the wake of Kirk's murder. CBS's Willie James Inman.
So the Trump administration is requesting $58 million in emergency funding for security for the executive branch and funding to protect judges.
Lots of firsts at last night's Emmy Awards on CBS. After 5 nominations for ER and nary a win, Noah Wyle picked up the Best Actor prize for The Pit.
What a dream this has been.
15-year-old Brit Owen Cooper, the youngest male actor to win an Emmy for Adolescence, and Stephen Colbert finally won his first for the now canceled Late Show. His advice?
Stay strong, be brave, and if the elevator tries to bring you down, go crazy and punch a higher floor.
Woo! Tesla shares jump after Elon Musk reveals a $1 billion stock buy. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Let me tell you about this new pretzel cheddar club. Hey, I'm Carlos.
And I'm Ebony. And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Pretzel Cheddar Club
is the tangy Dijon with the pretzel bun. It takes it to a whole nother level.
It goes perfectly with the chicken and the cheddar cheese and the bacon.
Man, you know how much you love bacon. And I love the different varieties. Grilled, spicy, original. It gets you nice and excited for fall.
Order the Pretzel Cheddar Club with Cherry Berry and Sprite for a limited time on the Chick-fil-A app. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
There's nothing like when you get that part from eBay and it just fits. Yeah, the first time. So you can do less of this and get right back to more of this. At eBay, you'll find all the parts you need, guaranteed to fit, at prices you'll love. Sounds good, doesn't it? eBay, things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
It is 7:04, and right now in downtown St. Louis, we've got clear skies and 70 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. It is going to warm up again. A very hot and humid day today and a hot weekend. We'll have the full forecast coming up. KMOX finds a man charged with a killing on the road, was previously charged with a serious car-related shooting.
Johnson is charged with first-degree murder and armed criminal action. On August 23rd, just about 3 weeks ago, police say Dotson was driving on Kings Highway near Arsenal at about 4 in the afternoon, followed his victim, then pulled up alongside and fired shots. The victim, 24-year-old Darian Reed, was killed. The shooting was apparently caught on video, and when interviewed by police, Dotson admitted, they say, that he was the only person who drives his vehicle. According to court records, at the time of the crash, Dotson was facing felony stealing charges and was out on his own recognizance. In 2022, he allegedly physically stole at least $750 from a confidential victim. And in 2020, the St. Louis County prosecutor charged Kenneth Dotson, same age, same address, with first-degree assault for a shooting at Gravois Bluffs. That shot hit an 18-year-old victim in his spinal cord. Police at the time said that shooting was accidental. They said Dotson was trying to shoot someone in his own car that he was arguing with when the gun went off and hit the bystander. The judge in the Kings Highway killing decided that Dotson is a danger to the community and ordered him held without bond. He could face life in prison without the possibility of parole if convicted. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The St. Louis County Prosecutor's Office tells us the charges in the 2020 shooting at Gravois Bluffs were dropped because key witnesses stopped cooperating. Dotson had his initial hearing Friday on the charges in the Kings Highway killing. He entered a plea of not guilty. Next hearing is October 10th.
The news is sponsored by the St. Louis Aquarium at Union Station. Republican efforts to redraw Missouri congressional districts are a violation of the state constitution, according to a lawsuit filed by a group of Missouri voters. In order to flip a Democratic stronghold into a Republican seat, Congressional District 5 has been split into 3 separate districts. One of them stretches almost from Kansas City to the Mississippi River. The lawsuit alleges the new map violates the Constitution because it specifically states, the Constitution, that congressional redistricting may occur only once every decade based on the census, and because the new districts are not compact. They also contend that in the rush to pass this, they failed to properly allocate population between the new districts, and one Kansas City precinct may actually be in 2 congressional districts.
Supporters of the redraw say the Missouri Constitution is silent on the issue of mid-decade redistricting, and therefore it is not explicitly prohibited. Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe.
The Missouri First map. That is a map that really reflects the values that I hear from Missourians at all times. And for those of you who disagree, I respect that. Decisions are hard. Leadership is hard. It's not easy doing the job that your House and Senate members do, but we try to do the best we can to reflect Missourians' values.
A bill creating more oversight into the St. Louis City Sheriff's Department, their finances, received its first full approval from the Board of Aldermen and heads to a final vote this week.
While the bill is headlined by codifying the sheriff's responsibility to transport detainees in need of medical care, it also opens up their expense reports to the comptroller's office. After questions over how and if that could be done legally, the bill's sponsor, Alderman Matt Devote, says they are on solid legal ground.
The sheriff is to submit that expenditure, the contract, to the comptroller's office for review.
Attorneys representing Sheriff Alfred Montgomery have indicated they would likely challenge this law in the courts if it was signed. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
This business desk was sponsored by Krentz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com. This morning at 9, Mayor Kara Spencer will raise a flag at City Hall to honor Hispanic Heritage Month. The flag raising kicks off a month of free Hispanic cultural events across the region, including the 29th annual Greater St. Louis Hispanic Festival in Soulard this coming weekend.
It is 7:08. We'll get you traffic and weather together next.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights. With thousands of 5-star reviews, you can trust us to bring happiness home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Baseball is all about stepping up to the plate when it matters most. And when you've been injured, you need a heavy hitter in your corner. At Morgan & Morgan, we don't back down. We fight to get you every dollar you deserve. No curveballs, no strikeouts, just results. That's why we've recovered over $25 billion for our clients and fight for them from offices nationwide. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm, proud sponsor of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Wow, we've had a hot summer so far. Probably still got a little bit more heat coming in through the rest of August and September. Most likely, let you know, I am still here. If you guys looked up the wife looking through the end of the fork, I am still here. She still loves the hell out of me because my air conditioner did not break this summer, and I did not need to call me to have it looked at or have it fixed. But if you do need your air conditioner fixed, we can get to you pretty quick. If you want a new one, somebody tells you need a new one, we can get to you really quick. Just call me, Bart Inman, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600 or bartinman.com. I almost forgot. bartinman.com. That's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
Hey, it's 7:10. Roger Brand, what are you seeing? Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it's pretty busy on North 270, Tom, but it's better because they did clear that crash we had just before 64, so things are in better shape. But it's still slow, North 270, from Tesson Ferry through Gravois, about midway up to 44, and then Big Bend up through Doherty Ferry, at Jam Doherty Ferry to Manchester, and then again slow up to 64 where we had the earlier crash. So a lot of volume this time of day. At least it's not a complete jam like most of it was earlier, so it is better. Eastbound 64, you've got slow stuff from 364 through Winghaven. After that, it looks okay. Eastbound 70, Lake St. Louis into TR Hughes. There's some slower traffic running through there. After that, it opens up. Northbound 55, a backup. Bayless up to River to Pear. And on the Illinois side, I believe it could be signal problems, maybe Route 3 at Queenie. Still seeing a solid jam from Jerome up to Queenie, but it's not at the tracks. It's at Queenie Avenue itself, so I think it may be signals holding you up there. Next update at 7:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather sunshine filtered through some high clouds today. Nevertheless, it's going to be hot and humid with a high of 93. Partly cloudy early tonight, then turning mainly clear late tonight, though 68. Tomorrow, mostly sunny and hot, but a little less humid for the afternoon, the high 94. The record is 98, set at 1954. The heat continues Wednesday with sunshine and some clouds, the high 93. The record is 97, set at 1931. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now, we've got sunshine in downtown St. Louis. It is 70 degrees.
People are being grabbed and they're being thrown into vans. And that's different than questioning people.
That's Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker speaking out about the alleged tactics of ICE in Chicago. He tells NPR he's concerned that the vast majority of people being detained are not criminals, but rather individuals who may have partial documentation or are undocumented.
I want to ask a question to everybody who's listening and to you. Do you carry with you citizenship papers? How do you prove to somebody that you're a U.S. citizen? Your accent? The color of your skin?
Following his remarks, Governor Pritzker's comments were met with criticism from the Department of Homeland Security and others who support the federal immigration operations. They maintain that the surge of agents named Operation Midway Blitz is aimed at detaining the worst of the worst criminal illegal aliens who have flocked to Chicago due to its sanctuary policies.
Former Illinois Governor Jim Edgar, a Republican, always popular on both sides of the political aisle, has passed away. One of Edgar's last public appearances was in May, when the reading room at the State Public Library was named for him.
I had the great opportunity to serve in a lot of different capacities in both the executive and legislative branch of government in more than my 30 years in state government. But there was no job that I enjoyed more than being state librarian.
Current Governor Pritzker described Edgar as a mentor and a model public servant. WBBM Radio in Chicago spoke with former Illinois Governor Pat Quinn.
Jim Edgar is a good role model for anyone who wants to be in public life and public service. He was modest. He understood that everybody counts. Nobody should be left out.
Illinois Congresswoman Nikki Budzinski, a graduate of the Edgar Fellows Program, highlighted his ability to bring people together and find common ground. Secretary of State Alexei Janulius echoed those sentiments, noting Edgar's focus on civility, compromise, and compassion.
A healthcare startup eyeing expansion in St. Louis aims to bring telehealth to the emergency room to solve two problems. First, long waits. Second, a lack of specialists or even doctors with the time to sit down for a conversation. Apogee Care founder, Dr. Kevin Bice.
Apogee Care works best not just hospital by hospital, but by going deep into like certain cities and certain markets and certain even rural areas. And so we work with a bunch of hospitals at the same time to help all their patients get the care that they need across a geography. And so I'm really excited to be in St. Louis because one question we're asking is, maybe St. Louis is the right place, including some of the rural areas around here, to build out this model and make sure that the people that live here get the right care when they hit the ER.
Listen for more on this story coming up at 7:42.
And on the way at 7:22.
I'm Maria. He knows what the St. Louis police chief is saying about potentially having a National Guard in town.
With Ricky Orton, I'm John Rooney. And yesterday, the Cardinals made 3 runs in the second inning stand up, beating the Brewers 3-2, giving Miles Michaelis a win and a save for Riley O'Brien. But the Cardinals had chances to add on after the second. They did not, and they had to hold on for a 1-run victory.
A nice win for the Cardinals after a really rough road trip. They dropped 3 in Seattle, the first 2 in Milwaukee, and they had to hang on. The relief pitching, very, very good. JoJo with a bounce back, and Riley O'Brien with a bounce back picked up the save.
Now the Cardinals take on the Cincinnati Reds. It's the final homestand, 3 against the Reds, and then 3 against the Milwaukee Brewers Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
It'll be nice to have a good finish at home.
The Cardinals are going with lefty Matthew Liberatore. He's 7-12. Zach Littell, 9-8, will pitch for the Reds tonight. We're on the air at 5:50. Ricky will have the lineups at 6:35. I'll bring you the first pitch at 6:45 from Busch Stadium in St. Louis.
We'll make Liberatore our player to bank on, brought to you by Community America Credit Union, invested in you. Well, you know things are going to get busy around here soon because look who's back. The St. Louis Blues training camp opening on Thursday. GM Doug Armstrong.
Yeah, we'll have our 2 groups on the ice on Thursday and Friday. Then we'll jump right into a couple quick exhibition games in Dallas and in Columbus. And I know the coaches are excited. This is the hardest time for, quite honestly, coaches and management. You're here, you're in town, you're ready to go to work, and you just have to sort of pull the reins back, and it's still summer mode for the players. But
they are ready to go. The Prospects have already played a couple of games, beating the Wild on Friday up in St. Paul 6-4, and then losing the second game of the Prospect Showcase to the Blackhawks 3-2. Football yesterday on 97.1 FM. It was the Kansas City Chiefs hosting the Philadelphia Eagles. And would you believe it? The Chiefs are 0-2 for the first time since 2014. Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley led the Eagles to a 20-17 victory at Arrowhead Stadium, rematch of Super Bowl 59. The Chiefs, last time they failed to make the playoffs was 2014. They went 0-2 that year. The Eagles have won 7 straight games, 17-1 over the past 18 games. Cowboys-Giants was a wild one. Dallas won it 40-37 on a 46-yard field goal as time expired in overtime. Brandon Aubrey kicked it. He nailed a 64-yarder to end regulation and send it to OT. Texas A&M made a big jump into the top 10 of the AP college football poll after its dramatic win at Notre Dame. The Irish, the first team since 1988 to stay in the top 25 with an 0-2 record. Ohio State, Penn State, and LSU remain the top 3 teams in the AP Top 25 college football poll. Here's a look at some of the others. Number 4 is Miami. Number 5, Georgia, after their win over Tennessee. The rest of the top 10, Oregon, Florida State, Texas, Illinois stays at number 9, and Texas A&M at 10. Missouri checks in at number 23. I'm Tom Ackerman on the voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
Hey guys, Glover here. Right now, buy 2 windows and get 2 free from Universal Windows Direct. No interest for 3 whole years. Call 314-334-2522. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
Attention business owners with a net income over $500,000. You need to work with a tax strategist that understands your entrepreneurial mindset. Download the most recent white paper written by E3 Consultants Group titled The Power of a Professional Tax Strategy Team. Go to e3wealth.com/radio to obtain a copy. It's time to learn about wealth and tax strategies that protect your personal and business economy. E3 is ready to help you think differently about your finances. Educate, empower, enlighten. That's the E3 difference.
Aging in place. That is something a lot of us want to do. And if that sounds like you, or maybe you have a loved one that you are caring for and you're struggling a little because you need some help and you're not sure where to turn, I want to tell you about EverTrue Anywhere Care. You may think EverTrue Anywhere Care, is that new? Well, no, because it's formerly known as Lutheran Senior Services, which of course you're familiar with, and you may be familiar with some of their local life plan communities. But EverTrue also has been providing world-class in-home services for nearly 20 years, all part of their nonprofit mission of older adults living life to the fullest. So maybe you need some help after surgery, some orthopedic or injury rehabilitation, maybe just an extra hand around the house for errands or house cleaning, licensed nursing care. The list is so long. Just give them a call. It is one-stop shopping. Tell them what you need. They will put a plan together and come right to your door. 314-597-6498. 314-597-6498. Or you can find them online right now at evertrueanywherecare.org.
Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
A 7:20 check of traffic now. Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it looks like we got a little trouble, Tom, in the Richmond Heights area, westbound 64 at 170. It's either on the left shoulder or in the left lane. I really can't tell because I'm looking through an overpass, but westbound 64 at the Interbelt at 170. We do have a minor crash. Traffic's bogged down back to about the Clayton Skinker exit in the city. Eastbound 64, you've got a backup 364 to Winghaven. It opens up east of there. It's a little slow past Clarkson, a little slow at the Interbelt. If you're on South 270, Oliveville Ladue, that's heavier. Eastbound Highway 70 from Highway A into TR Hughes is busier. There's a little heavy traffic east of 270 into the Rock Road. North 270 from 55 through Gravois and from Big Bend all the way up to Ladue is pretty busy on that run. Northbound 55, Bayless up to River to Pear, more of a backup through there. And still seeing this jam on the Illinois side, Route 3, from a little south of Jerome up to Queenie. I think it could be signal problems holding you up there. Also seeing some heavy traffic eastbound 270 between 203 and 111. They were doing weekend road work in that area. Next update is 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It is 7:22 and the summer weather continues. It looks like we'll start to maybe get a bit of a break in this heat as we head towards the weekend. But today, 93 degrees with more humidity and sun and high clouds. Tomorrow, less humidity, but a high of 94, and then 93 on Wednesday and Thursday. Right now, it's 70 with sunshine in downtown St. Louis.
Weather sponsored by Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Those people are probably saving a carload of cash right now. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
It's 7:22. Authorities still searching for a motive in last week's shooting death of Charlie Kirk at Utah Valley University. The suspect was taken into custody last week and could make his first court appearance as soon as tomorrow.
We are learning more about Tyler Robinson. He remains in the Utah jail being held without bail. He's expected to make his first court appearance tomorrow. On the Sunday talk shows, the killing of Charlie Kirk was the main topic. Utah Governor Spencer Cox on NBC's Meet the Press said Robinson had what he called a leftist ideology.
According to family and people that we're interviewing, he does come from a conservative family, but his ideology was very different than his family. And so that's part of it.
And there were more details revealed about Robinson's roommate, who has been assisting law enforcement in trying to unravel what may have triggered Robinson.
The roommate that we had originally talked about, we can confirm that roommate is a boyfriend who is transitioning from male to female. So we know that piece. I will say that person has been very cooperative.
According to authorities, in the days leading to Charlie Kirk's appearance last week at Utah Valley University, Tyler Robinson had expressed a strong dislike for Kirk. In a discussion with family members, some of Kirk's comments were described as full of hate. Opponents of Kirk in the past have been critical of Kirk's comments on a number of issues, including transgender and gay rights. It's not clear if those may have played a role. Meanwhile, last night at the Kennedy Center in Washington, a vigil for Kirk was held. Some prominent government officials attended, including House Speaker Mike Johnson.
Charlie Kirk did so much in his short life that he spurred that on in other people. He inspired it in other people. And that message and that truth will go more boldly now than it did while he was here. It will go forward with power and strength.
Tomorrow, charges are expected to be filed in Utah against Tyler Robinson. At that time, we expect more details. And next Sunday, a massive memorial service will take place in the Phoenix area. It will be held at the football stadium, which is the home of the NFL's Arizona Cardinals. I'm Steve Futterman reporting.
FBI Director Kash Patel is bracing for scrutiny over his leadership of the Charlie Kirk investigation and other areas where he appears before Congress this coming week for oversight hearings. He raised eyebrows hours after Kirk's killing when he posted on X that the subject in the killing was in custody when he, in fact, remained on the loose.
Be scrutinized when he visits Capitol Hill. The uncertainty surrounding the leadership of FBI Director Kash Patel was highlighted in the hours following the shooting of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Patel declared online that the subject in the killing was in custody, when actually he was not. The credibility of Patel and the FBI are being questioned. Patel is scheduled to appear at congressional oversight hearings on Tuesday and Wednesday.
The suspect was taken into custody at 10 p.m. local time. In less than 36 hours, 33 to be precise, thanks to the full weight of the federal government and leading out with the partners here in the state of Utah and Governor Cox, the suspect was apprehended in a historic time period.
He'll face questions not just about the Kirk investigation, but doubts about whether he can stabilize an agency fragmented by political fights and internal upheaval. A former FBI executive says it's extremely important that Patel perform well during those hearings. Mike Hempen, Washington.
While there has been speculation President Trump may have his eye on St. Louis when it comes to sending in the National Guard, late last week, Trump confirmed it.
President Trump says while meeting with CEO of Union Pacific, Jim Vena, he suggested, besides Memphis, that the president should send the Guard into St. Louis, given how bad the crime is. St. Louis Police Chief Robert Tracy was asked about that.
At this time, it's not something that's talked about, and really hypothetically, it's tough getting into hypotheticals. I do know that we did have, when we had the No Kings March, when we had several thousand people that were here a couple of months ago, the National Guard was called up by the governor, and then to assist Kansas City and the city of St. Louis. It's something that yes, it was available, but we were able to do things and make sure we kept the city safe, and everybody had a peaceful march, and except for a few that wanted to try to take the highway towards the end of the night, but we were able to dissuade them from doing that. But at that time, the National Guard was there, but it wasn't needed. But you have to work them into the plans if they are going to be here and if they are needed. So you got to do it. You got to have some common sense about how you would do it. But right now, I really can't get into that because it's not a conversation that has even been brought up to this chief or I've heard about until you asked this question. At this time, I would have to deal with that question. Should they come here? And if there's resources that are given to us, then I'd have to figure out a plan on how to deal with that and how to use them in the best way possible for the community.
In addition to the National Guard, St. Louis is going to supposedly receive an increase in FBI agents.
Where they can help us is in these strike forces and investigations and help us with some of the violent crime.
But like the National Guard, there's no firm date for if and when these additional resources will be deployed in St. Louis. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
It's 7:28. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
When you want a brand new kitchen, there's nothing to it. There's a brand new way to do it. 3-day kitchen and bath.
Rochelle talks about her experience with 3-day kitchen and bath.
It was a wonderful experience. I had heard about them on the radio. They come out to your house. They let you know what they do. They let you pick out your features, your colors, and then they come into your home the morning they start. They walk you through, this is what's going to happen, and you leave for a few days, and you come home, and it's done.
Was it easy?
It made it easy because you're not in the middle of a mess for 2 or 3 months. Left on a Tuesday morning, and it was done on a Thursday night. We came home Friday morning early because we were so excited.
What was your reaction when you first saw it?
Wow.
It's about time.
3 days or less
at 3-day kitchen and bath.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody. Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. 1 discount per household.
It is 7:30, and we've got plenty of sunshine now in downtown St. Louis, and it is 70 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
I'm Tom Ackerman. Monday seems to go a little slower, Roger, when it comes to traffic, but they're getting after it now. Some volume out there. You're in the Overhead Door Company St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, and we still have this one crash time on westbound 64. I can't tell if it's the left lane or shoulder, but the left side of the highway is blocked. It's right at 170, and westbound 64 is slow at the Science Center. It's jammed from Clayton Skinker out to the crash scene. If you're coming in eastbound 64, it's not very impactful there. Eastbound 64 is slow from 364 to Winghaven. There's a little slowdown 94 to Research Park from Annie Guns to about Clarkson, and then heavy through the Interbelt the way you would normally see it. South 170 bugs down to Parkway, South 270. Approaching Olive down to 64 is busy. Eastbound 70, A to Lake St. Louis Boulevard, slow. K to TR Hughes is a little heavy. And Earth City into the Rock Road, there's some busier traffic. North 270, north of 55 through Gravois, north of 44 up to Ladue. That's all heavy. We have a new crash eastbound 44 right near Big Bend. And traffic's bogged down at Lindbergh going up to that one. Northbound 55. You've got the heavy traffic coming up. Well, first of all, it's a little slow at 67 in the work zone, jammed from the Union Road overpass up to River to Pear. Westbound 64 is slow. Route 3 to the Poplar, and Route 3 still has a jam from Jerome up to Queenie. Next update is 740 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's going to stay summery hot all week, but it looks like we may be in for a bit of a cool down when we head to the weekend. In the meantime, today is going to be sunny with high clouds, humid, 93. Tomorrow, less humidity, but 94, and then 93 on Wednesday and Thursday, currently 70 downtown.
Republican efforts to redraw Missouri congressional districts are a violation of the state constitution, according to a lawsuit filed by a group of Missouri voters. In order to flip a Democratic stronghold into a Republican seat, Congressional District 5 has been split into 3 separate districts, one that stretches almost from Kansas City to the Mississippi River.
The lawsuit alleges the new map violates the Missouri Constitution because the Constitution specifically states that congressional redistricting may occur only once every decade based on the census, and because the new districts are not compact. They also contend that in the rush to pass this, the legislature failed to properly allocate population between the new districts, and one Kansas City precinct may actually be in 2 congressional districts.
They're still on strike. Boeing machinists voted Friday to reject the latest contract offer from the aerospace company. The walkout began August 4th. It's the first strike at the Missouri facility in nearly 3 decades. A union rep says Boeing's third offer did not include a sufficient signing bonus or a raise in 401k benefits.
Why is it so hard to get a fire truck? We've got more on that coming up, but also we'll have the latest from Bloomberg and traffic and weather as well. Stay with us here on Total Information AM at 7:33, and the news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com.
Charlie Brennan once again with Dr. Colleen Bosler at the Audiology Center. Dr. Bosler, is it possible we might say, oh, those kids are mumbling, when the problem really is our own inability to hear?
Exactly. Hearing is integral in everything that we do. It keeps us involved and embraced in life. Not hearing someone is never normal. Ringing in the ears is never normal. And when people have a hearing loss, oftentimes they complain that they can hear, but they cannot understand people. And avoiding getting a hearing aid can have long-term effects on the speech reception area of the brain. So what that means is if you test and treat the hearing loss early with a hearing aid, we can prevent a decline in the speech understanding that can happen if the hearing loss goes untreated.
The words of Dr. Colleen Bosler at the Audiology Center. 3 locations in St. Louis, 636-441-7470, the Audiology Center, STL.com.
You hear that? That's the sound of your business losing money. Legacy phone systems weren't built for today's teams. OpenPhone gives your business a smarter way to stay connected. OpenPhone lets you manage calls, texts, voicemail, and contacts all in one place so that you and your team can deliver a seamless customer experience from ring to... Need to take calls on the go? OpenPhone automatically transcribes, summarizes, and highlights next steps from every call, so you never miss a detail. Need insight into what closes a sale? With OpenPhone's AI call tags, you can instantly spot key topics like objections or pricing questions, and use those insights to coach your team and level up every customer interaction. And yes, you can bring your existing number with you for free. Keep your team in sync and your customers happy with OpenPhone. OpenPhone. No missed calls, no missed customers. Try OpenPhone for free at openphone.com/try and get 20% off your first 6 months. That's openphone.com/try. openphone.com/TRY.
7:35, your money report sponsored by Busey Bank.
Good morning. Stocks are near record highs as investor focus turns to the Federal Reserve's meeting this week. A 1/4-point interest rate reduction is seen as a sure thing Wednesday, but some say the Fed could cut even more or cut again and again because of a weakening job market. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says the U.S. and China are very close to resolving the TikTok issue. Bessent commenting while in Madrid, he's been holding trade talks with high-level Chinese officials there. ByteDance's popular app is facing a deadline this week to reach a deal so TikTok can continue operations in the U.S. Some reports say that deadline could be extended. We're hearing Brookfield Asset Management is in talks to buy the U.S. landlord Yes Communities from Singapore's sovereign wealth fund GIC. Sources say the entire portfolio could be valued at more than $10 billion. And Apple's hypertension detection system for smartwatches will be arriving this week after getting FDA clearance. It uses data from the Apple Watch's optical heart sensor to analyze how a user's blood vessels respond to heartbeats over a 30-day period. With your money report, I'm Denise Pellegrini with Bloomberg Business on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Within the cities we call home,
Busey Bank is more than a name. It's a commitment to your dreams. With Busey, trusted guidance is tailored to empower you every step of the way. Whether it's seamlessly managing your finances or planning for your future, Busey is dedicated to your financial success. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
The biggest impact I get to make is seeing kids graduate.
I find it the most meaningful to be able to work with kids and see the smiles on their faces when they figure out how to read.
I felt really strongly that my faith was calling me to be a person who serves others.
The only way that things are going to get better is if we all try to lend a hand.
Volunteer in your community. Visit showmeservice.org. Sponsored by the Missouri Community Service Commission and the Corporation for National and Community Service.
Hey, let's talk about the 4 steps on your journey to a new outdoor space from Chesterfield Fence and Deck. How does it work? We keep telling you, hey, in-home consultation, showroom, scheduling, the results of it. Let's break this down for you. Here's step number 1. An in-home consultation. They will listen to your needs at Chesterfield Fence and Deck for your backyard remodel and explain how they can meet your needs with their services. Then after your consultation, step number 2, they will invite you to their showroom to view samples of those quality products, fences, decks, sunrooms, patios, etc., in person, and ask any questions that you may have. Once they have a clear vision for your project, Chesterfield Fence and Deck will schedule a time for their technicians to install your new products with flawless craftsmanship, and then you just get to enjoy. That's step number 4. You'll just love the results. You're ready to enjoy your yard like never before. Go to chesterfieldfence.com and mention me, Tom Ackerman. You'll receive 48 months interest-free financing on your next outdoor project. chesterfieldfence.com.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friend Mark Cantor at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, so I take this very seriously. Mark is a great attorney. He has a great team. He is from St. Louis. He is local. Call 314-628-9999 or visit cantorinjurylaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Retiring soon? Get the information you need by joining Kyle Jones and Matt Allgeier of Fire Capital Management for your retirement highway, Sunday mornings at 9:30. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, registered investment advisors. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
Today, the Cards, the Reds. Ackerman Total Access 550. Cardinals Radio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is 7:40, and we are looking at a nice, breezy, sunny morning. It is going to heat up. We'll take a closer look at your forecast coming up in just a minute. But first, the roadways with Roger Brand and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, good news for folks on westbound 64, Debbie. This traffic reports the service of Metro Transit. They cleared that crash. We had westbound 64 at the Interbelt. Now it's a solid jam still from almost Kings Highway out to about Big Bend, but then it's opening up on westbound 64. So getting better, but still tougher than it normally would be. Eastbound 64, east of 364 through Wing Haven's heavy, east of Boone's Crossing to about Timberlake, and east of Lindbergh through the Interbelt slow. South 170 bogging down at Olive, South 270 approaching 364 to Ladue. That's busy. Eastbound Highway 70, Lake St. Louis into Bryan, K to T.R. Hughes, the Blanchette into the Rock Road. They're all just slowdowns. Northbound 270 busy. Tesson Ferry all the way up through into the Ladue area. 44, that crash we had at Big Bend's been cleared. Still a little sluggish around Lindbergh. It's also slow approaching 141. Eastbound Highway 30, we've got a crash before you get to New Sugar Creek. A little bit of a jam up there for you. Northbound 55, pretty solid from the Union Road overpass up to River to Pear. And downtown westbound 64, this heavy route through to the Poplar, still seeing that jam. Northbound Route 3 at Queenie as well. Next update is 750 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Metro Transit.
$5 day pass from Metro St. Louis and go anywhere Metro goes, no matter how far or how long, all day long. Super chill, clean, safe, and reliable, not to mention AC and free Wi-Fi. Go to metrostl.org to get your pass today.
Let's check in with our AccuWeather meteorologist, Joe Lundberg. And am I right in thinking that we might be in for a cool down this weekend?
This weekend, yes. I think that it starts Friday as the front moves through the area, and then the air mass aloft just isn't going to be as warm as we go through the weekend. So I think more likely to be in the 80s. But between now and then, it's going to be hot. Sunshine, some clouds, a hot, humid day today with a high of 93. Partly cloudy this evening, clear later tonight, those 68. The heat continues tomorrow, a little lower humidity, lots of sunshine, the high 94. Wednesday, Thursday, partly to mostly sunny and hot. The high both days 93. Then that front comes through Friday with it. More clouds, not as hot, but more humid with a shower and thunderstorm or two, the high 84 to 88. And it looks like it dries out and stays comfortable for the start of the weekend. 72 in St. Peter's right now, 73 in Florissant, mostly sunny and 74 downtown at the Arch. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's 7:42. Sports coming up in just a few minutes here on Total Information AM. Senator Josh Hawley.
Some fire stations don't even have a single functional fire truck.
Hearing testimony on the dire situation that many fire departments across the nation have, including Missouri.
So what's going on here? That's really the subject of today's hearing.
President of the International Association of Firefighters, Edward A. Kelly.
Too many cities and towns are asking their firefighters to operate with old, broken down, or even non-existent fire apparatus. And we're here today to investigate the reasons why this dangerous reality exists.
Hawley is investigating why fire truck prices have doubled and why have delivery times for them quadrupled.
A healthcare startup eyeing expansion in St. Louis aims to bring telehealth to the emergency room to solve two problems. First, long waits. Second, a lack of specialists or even doctors with the time to sit down for a conversation. KMOX's Michael Calhoun spoke with Apogee Care founder, Dr. Kevin Bice.
Yeah, so tell us about Apogee Care. What is this startup focused on?
We're focused on making sure that we meet them at the front door of that ER, get them the specialist referral that they need right then, like see a geriatrician if they're older, right at that front door of the ER, so that they can get the right diagnosis, get the tests that are needed, and get home as soon as possible, whenever possible.
You know, you're here for the BioSTL Health Innovation Summit, and I'm curious, before coming for this, what was your kind of impression, your mental, image of St. Louis and the startup and the healthcare industry scene here, and how has it changed since you've been here for the summit and you've kind of experienced it?
3 years ago, I saw a patient, 72-year-old woman. She'd come in there because her stomach had hurt. She waited in the waiting room for a long time in the ER. I work in the ER. And then they ordered her a CAT scan. And so by the time I saw her, she'd been there like close to 10 hours. And I came in her room to tell her that her CAT scan was okay, that the abdominal CAT scan looked okay. And so she could probably go home. The blood test looked okay. And I was giving her my speech of, I'm not sure why your stomach's hurting, but everything looks good. And she looked up at me and she said, oh, good. So I don't have colon cancer like my sister just died of. The point of this story is because the ERs are so busy, they don't take the time to ask patients when they arrive, what's really on your mind? What's really worrying you? Because if we had asked her that, we wouldn't have gotten a CAT scan. We would have sent her home in the first hour she was there and set her up with an outpatient visit to make sure she didn't have colon cancer, because a CAT scan didn't answer that question. We did the wrong test, and she took 10 hours of her time and a lot of money to get that done because we never asked the right questions. So when you asked me before why Apogee Care, it's to make sure that these patients, when they hit the ER, they're seen quickly with the amount of time and dedication to get them the right care that they need and then get home whenever possible.
Dr. Kevin Bice, the founder of Apogee Care, one of those here for this Global Health Innovation Summit. And we certainly want to hear the updates from you as this rolls out, the impacts, of course, that you learn as this gets to hospitals and hopefully helps patients. We'd love to hear from you again. Please keep us updated.
Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Cardinal baseball on KMOX yesterday. The Redbirds taking on the Milwaukee Brewers one more time on the road.
Runner at first, 2 outs, the pitch. Swing and a miss for a Redbird winner. That was picked out of the dirt by Pajes, tagging Frelick, and this ball game has come to an end. A 2-hour, 51-minute game goes to the Cardinals by a final of 3-2.
They avoid getting swept. The Cardinals will host the Reds tonight. It begins at 6:45. Football over on 97.1 FM. The Chiefs with a loss at home to the Eagles 20-17. The Chiefs are 0-2 for the first time since 2014, and the Eagles have won 7 straight games, including Super Bowl 59 over the Chiefs earlier this year. College football, the number 1 team in the nation and number 2, both Big Ten teams, Ohio State and Penn State. LSU is number 3 in the country, making them the top SEC team, but you wouldn't know it hearing this exchange between head coach Brian Kelly and a reporter after a 20-10 win over Florida.
Brian in the back, I know you love these immediate post-game sessions, but what are you seeing with your offense?
Stop. Really? Is that the first question? We won the game 20-10. Try another question. What do you want me to tell you? I just laid it out for you. We played the game to win the game. We played the game to win the game.
All right. How about third down then? What is going on with third down?
It's one game. Last game, we were great on third down. You're looking at this from the wrong perspective. LSU won the football game. Won the game. I don't know what you want from me. What do you want? You want us to win 70-0 against Florida to keep you happy?
No, I think people want to know why you can't run the ball, quite honestly.
We can run the ball. Did you see the last play of the game? That's all you need. You just need one. There's ridiculous questions. And I'm getting tired of it. That football team just worked their tail off to get an SEC win, and you want to know what's wrong. You know what? You're spoiled. You're spoiled. This team is 17-1 at night. 17-1. Give them some respect. How about that? Give them some respect instead of micro-analyzing every little thing. This is ridiculous. For a group of seasoned reporters, that kind of question is so out of line.
This is the intensity of the college football season. It is just beginning. Brian Kelly and LSU ranked 3rd in the country. Number 4, Miami. Number 5, Georgia. Illinois hangs in at number 9, and Missouri moves up 2 spots to number 23. I'm Tom Ackerman on the voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM KMOX.
Now, 90 and 60. A look back at the latest St. Louis City SC match. Presented by Woods Basement Systems, Inc.
Klaus pulls it down, trying to take the shot. Ends up with Fulham. And Conrad Fulham slips it into the side shelf. 11th minute in Montreal. Bonjour, baby. Bonjour. In the D for Klaus. Plays the hardly, shoots and scores. Oh, puts it back post on the deck. And it's a 2-goal lead for St. Louis City. Oh, it's a point blank against Berkey, and Roman gets out in front. Your final, St. Louis City 2, CF Montreal 0.
Up next, City SC faces a San Jose Earthquake Saturday night. Kick at 9:30 on Y98.
Tripping over uneven concrete? Don't replace it, raise it with concrete leveling. Call the All Things Basementy experts, Wood Basement Systems, for a free estimate at 618-249-5503 or learn more at woodsbasementsystems.com.
That baby's gone.
Cardinals fans, FanDuel Sports Network is your home of the Cardinals.
That ball was mashed.
And there are more ways to watch this season.
Holy cow!
Subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network to stream the Cardinals without blackouts.
How about that play?
Or watch through a TV provider.
Incredible.
Including DirecTV, Spectrum, Xfinity, Fubo, and more.
He got it!
Learn more at cardinals.com/TV.
Ball game! That couldn't have worked out any better for the Cardinals.
The KMOX City SC Soccer Showcase, presented by Michelob Ultra, is back. Next stop, Hot Shot Sports Bar and Grill in Arnold, Thursday, September 18th. A limited number of fans can get an autographed picture from City SC player Timo Bunkardel. Win great prizes, enjoy great food and a cold drink. Hot Shots in Arnold is the place to be Thursday, September 18th from 6 till 8 p.m. for the City SC Soccer Showcase, presented by Michelob Ultra. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
Total Information AM. Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman on 104.1 FM KMOX.
All right, I don't want to worry you, but it is 7:51. Hopefully you are on your way. If you're stuck somewhere or wondering about your ride in, here's Roger Brand from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, quite a bit of slow traffic out there, Debbie. Eastbound 70 from Lake St. Louis into Bryan Road, approaching T.R. Hughes, 5th Street into the Rock Road. That's all slow. If you're on eastbound 64, east of 364 through Winghaven, Boone's Crossing to about Timberlake, and from Lindbergh all the way through the inner belt's busy. South 170 itself, the Woodson Road overpass down to 64, slow. South 270, Dorset to Ladue is heavy. Westbound 64, you still have a backup. Science Center out to Clayton Skinker, slow to the inner belt from an earlier crash. North 270, still busy stretches from Gravois all the way to Ladue. Northbound 55, Union Road overpass up to the River to Pears, jammed. Northbound 141, Hawkins up to 44. There's heavy traffic. Carmen up to about Highlands Boulevard. From Clayton Road all the way up to 64th. Folks are using that as an alternate route from earlier. Northbound Route 3 still have a jam coming up to Queenie from Jerome. Westbound 5570 slow. Western 111. Westbound 70 slow between the Mutual Veterans and McKinley bridges. And still have a roadwork delay. Eastbound 270 backed up 203 most of the way to 111. Next update is 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's going to be hot, Roger. We're looking at heat and humidity today and a high of 93 degrees, low 68 tonight. We're back to more heat tomorrow with a high of 94, 93 Wednesday, 93 Thursday. No relief until this weekend, I guess. 73 in Florissant, 72 in St. Peter's. We're seeing some blue sky and some sun in downtown St. Louis. It's 72 degrees.
The news continues at 7:53 on social media. People grasping for answers, trying to ascribe a motive in the assassination of Charlie Kirk. But KMOX Republican analyst John Hancock says there are historical trends that may offer some insight. For example, in 1985, 27 states had one Republican and one Democrat in the Senate. Now there are only 3 states. Plus, he says political campaigns are wired differently now.
It used to be that we would go out and try and find candidates that could build a consensus. Today, political campaigns are built on division and getting your team to have the 50% plus 1% that is more angry than the rest.
Hancock notes that 4 decades ago, Congress had a 20% overlap of Republicans and Democrats who were essentially on the same page ideologically. Today, he believes that number is 0.
A bill heading for a final vote in St. Louis City this week would write into the city code the sheriff is responsible for transporting detainees to the jail. Defending the bill against questions over its legality, its sponsor, Alderman Matt Devote, is confident in its standing.
We cited precedent with respect to Sheriff Montgomery's predecessors and how they've handled the detainee transport issue.
Attorneys representing Sheriff Montgomery have told KMOX they would likely file a legal challenge against this law if it is passed and signed. The full board of aldermen will take it up at their next meeting on Friday.
The Healing Arts Center in Warson Woods closed suddenly on Friday, leaving students of the massage therapy school worried and customers who'd prepaid for massages out of luck with no refunds. The center was open for 30 years. According to the Post-Dispatch, the center's owner wrote a letter stating student records will be preserved, and for those close to graduation, they'll find a pathway to certification for them. No word, though, on tuition refunds.
The Pit has won Best Drama Series at the Emmys, but it was The Studio that set a record for most wins.
Thank you very much. I'm legitimately embarrassed by how happy this makes me.
Seth Rogen and Apple TV's The Studio set a comedy record for victories, taking Best Comedy Series and 12 other awards. HBO's The Pit, which follows one long emergency room shift in a Pittsburgh hospital, won Best Drama Series, with Noah Wyle taking Best Actor in a Drama.
To anybody who's going on shift tonight or coming off shift tonight, thank you for being in that job. This is for you.
Netflix's Adolescence had 6 victories, including Best Limited Series, and Stephen Colbert may have been the night's most popular winner, taking Best Talk Series for The Late Show with Stephen Colbert.
Sometimes you only truly know how much you love something when you get a sense that you might be losing it.
CBS has canceled the show. I'm Ben Thomas.
It is 7:56.
I always get asked, when's the best time of the year to purchase an air conditioning and heating system for your home? My response is always the same. If you call me and have a free consultation on your needs and based on your budget, it's always a good time. There's never a bad time. You don't fear my pricing. I try to buy as much as I can at the start of the season, and anything we have left over, it's still a discounted price to you. So if you're looking or you're waiting before winter, because we all put it off, man, we all put it off. None of us like to spend money. But if you know you're going to be doing something before winter, call me, Bart Inman. One easy number in Missouri and Illinois. It's 293-2600, or on the internet, bartinman.com. That is Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-207-4545. That's 800-207-4545. Once again, that's 800-207-4545.
Celebrate the month of September with Zero Res and get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $129. Take $75 off your air duct cleaning as well. Book online at ZeroResSTL.com and take advantage of these huge savings. Spell it forward, spell it backwards, always spells the same. Zero Res.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com.
Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Tom, if you're traveling up 270 northbound, we still have slow traffic from just north of Tesson Ferry up to 44 and Big Bend all the way up to Ladue. South 270, south of Dorset down to Ladue is busy in stretches. Eastbound Highway 70, got a little backup midway in from Warrenton, round around the Wright City Rest area. There's slow traffic from Lake St. Louis up through 79 and 5th Street into the Rock Road. If you're on eastbound 64, of course, it's busy through Winghaven, coming out of the valley, ending guns to Clarkson and Lindbergh through the Inner Belt. Westbound 64, Clayton Skinker to Hanley, the heaviest part there. Northbound 55, Bales up the river to Pear, backed up. Downtown northbound Route 3, still a jam up to Queenie, and eastbound 270 still has roadwork delays from 203 into 111. 5570 is also slow west of 111. Next update at 8:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today is Monday, September 15th. I'm Debbie Monterrey. If you ask an AI chatbot about the news, a new analysis shows they're accurate only 65% of the time.
It's been 2 years since the fall of affirmative action. A Yale professor assesses the impact.
Operation Food Search is taking its mobile market to the east side.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. We'll see sunshine through some high clouds today. It'll be hot and humid with a high of 93.
With Debbie Monterrey, I'm Tom Ackerman. Megan Lynch is coming up next. I'll be back at noon with the Gas House Gang with Chris Ranji. The Cardinals play the Reds tonight, 6:45 start. Matt Pauley has pregame at 5:50. On the home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. President Trump has just delivered the news social media fans have been hoping for. Correspondent Vicki Barker has details from the Foreign Desk.
One day after suggesting he might let TikTok die, 2 days before a deadline for TikTok to find a U.S. owner or be banned in the U.S., President Trump is hinting that a deal has been done with China that will allow the wildly popular social media platform to continue in the U.S. No confirmation yet from Beijing.
Secretary of State Rubio has met with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Jerusalem almost a week after Israel's airstrike targeting Hamas negotiators in Qatar.
It was a decision taken by me and our top security chiefs. It was conducted by us, and we assumed full responsibility for it.
Rubio promised unwavering support for Israel. Netanyahu called President Trump the greatest friend Israel has ever had in the White House. Rubio is scheduled to visit Qatar tomorrow. Utah's governor says the 22-year-old suspect in conservative activist Charlie Kirk's assassination is not cooperating with investigators. But he says Tyler Robinson's roommate and romantic partner is. Former West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin spent 15 years as a Democrat, then changed his affiliation to independent last year. He tells CBS Mornings.
Our democracy is a representative form of democracy. We represent the people that send us there. And we are the face of the people. We are basically the voice of the people. And if we're speaking all this hatred and diversity and basically just attacking each other, it starts at the top.
If you're still shelling out money for meat, you're probably gasping at the cash register. CBS's Michael George.
The price of beef has shot through the roof, up 13.9% annually in August. Americans were paying around $5.58 a pound a year ago. Now it's up to $6.32 a pound.
Lots of firsts at last night's Emmy Awards. CBS News Los Angeles, Dina Demetrius.
The show ended with the big winner, The Pit, for Best Drama Series, which is a huge surprise and a great win for them, given that this is their very first season. The other big winner was Adolescence, another first-time winner in its first season for limited anthology. The Studio won for Best Comedy Series, again, first-time winner, first season.
A first for Stephen Colbert's now canceled Late Show. It took Best Talk Series. Tesla shares jump after Elon Musk reveals a $1 billion stock buy. Dow futures up 111. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Get renter's insurance to protect the things that make your place a home, including coverage for theft or damage. Visit progressive.com.
At 8:03, we have sunny skies, 73 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Monday, September 15th. The news sponsored by the St. Louis Aquarium at Union Station. I'm Megan Lynch. A bill that would make the St. Louis City Sheriff's Department transport detainees to the hospital could face a legal challenge.
Or does it mandate the sheriff to take offenders to hospitals?
Yes.
A diagnostic center?
Yes, ma'am. I would refer you to the case of State
Alderman Matt Devotie
versus
defending his
Jones.
bill codifying the role
so
of
that
the
you can
sheriff
check
in
the
St.
side
Louis
that is
in front of the Board of
556
Aldermen.
Southwest
Ahead of its final vote on
735.
Friday, he says
The
there is a state statute about the sheriff's responsibility to transport detainees in cities like St. Louis.
A sheriff of a city with a population over 200,000 must transport folks requiring medical attention.
The legislation would also require that the sheriff's department submit all expenses to the comptroller's office for oversight. Attorneys representing Sheriff Alfred Montgomery have previously hinted that they would likely file a lawsuit against this law if passed. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
People are being grabbed and they're being thrown into vans. And that's different than questioning people.
Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker speaking about the alleged tactics of ICE in Chicago. He tells NPR he's concerned that the vast majority of people being detained are not criminals, but rather individuals who may have partial documentation or are undocumented.
I want to ask a question to everybody who's listening and to you. Do you carry with you citizenship papers? How do you prove to somebody that you're a U.S. citizen? Your accent? The color of your skin?
Following his remarks, Governor Pritzker's comments were met with criticism from the Department of Homeland Security and others who support the federal immigration operations. They maintain that the surge of agents named Operation Midway Blitz is aimed at detaining the worst of the worst criminal illegal aliens who have flocked to Chicago due to its sanctuary policies. Former Illinois Governor Jim Edgar has died at the age of 79. Edgar served as governor of Illinois from 1991 to 1999. Before that, he was Illinois Secretary of State. One of the governor's last public appearances was in May when the reading room at the state public library was named for him.
We are fortunate in Illinois. We have many fine local libraries as well as the state library. Fact is, I would travel the state. I would always evaluate towns and cities on how good their library was. If they had a good library, that was a good town.
Edgar, a Republican, always popular on both sides of the political aisle. A daytime killing on the streets of South St. Louis. KMOX finds a suspect has been accused of a shooting involving a car before.
It happened on August 23rd on Kings Highway near the Home Depot at 4 in the afternoon. 25-year-old Kenneth Dotson is charged with first-degree murder and armed criminal action. Police say that Dotson followed, then pulled up alongside the car of 24-year-old Darian Reed and shot him. Witnesses realized what had happened when Reed's car stopped on Kings Highway. He died 6 days later at the hospital. Court records do not indicate what, if anything, everything led up to the shooting. Dotson was already facing felony stealing charges at the time that allege he took cash from a confidential victim. 5 years ago, a 20-year-old Kenneth Dotson from the same address was charged with first-degree assault for a shooting at Gravois Bluffs in Fenton. Police at the time said Dotson was traveling in a car with several other people, got into an argument with one of them, tried to get his gun out of a satchel, but the gun went off and struck a bystander. That 18-year-old victim was struck in his spinal cord. In the case of the killing on Kings Highway, Judge Michael Dauphin decided that Dotson should be held without bond. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The latest healthcare startup we're spotlighting is Apogee Care, which aims to integrate telehealth into emergency rooms specifically for elderly
And
patients.
everybody gets it. If we were having this conversation at Panera, the table beside us would turn around and say, like, oh, my goodness, I'm so glad you're doing that because I brought my Aunt Marge to the ER. And gosh, it was really tough. She was there a really long time. We're not sure she got what she needed.
Founder Dr. Kevin Blythe says he once saw a woman who'd been waiting in the ER for 10 hours and had gotten all the wrong tests done because the doctor she saw was not a specialist and didn't have time to listen. From the business desk, sponsored by Krentz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com. When adjusted for inflation, teachers are making, on average, $3,700 a year less than they did 16 years ago. That's according to a new survey by Wallet Hub. Its 2025 Best and Worst States of Teachers report lists Missouri as the 8th worst in the nation. Illinois ranked 5th best state behind Virginia, Utah, Washington, and New York. We'll check traffic and weather coming up. It's 8:08.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Well, if you can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence, Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation today, 314-569-1050. Now hiring qualified carpenters. BannerConstruction.com.
I'm fixing to tell you something that the insurance industry does not want you to ever hear. Bullies often delay and deny. I see them sitting on premiums paid and making money and dragging it out for as long as they can. Many times, we're forced to take them to court. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Their high-paid lobbyists are on a mission to make sure that at trial, jurors are not allowed to learn that the at-fault party has insurance, and in some cases, lots of it. I can think of no case in all my years where there was no insurance for the at-fault party. So let's fight back. It's all these bullies understand. Tell everybody you know the truth. If you've been injured in a car crash or hurt at a store or business, visit forthepeople.com. We're here 24/7. It's that easy. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Community America is stepping up in St. Louis and showing what excellence in banking looks like. Or in other words, they're winning. Opening more branches? Win. Competitive loan rates? Win. Wealth management? Win. Which now makes sense why they asked me, Cardinal shortstop Mason Wynn, to tell you. That's win with two N's, not one. It's time to bank like the Mason winner you are. It's time your financial partner was invested in you. Member owned, open to all. Community America Credit Union, invested in you.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
8:10. Let's see how your morning is going as you had to work on this Monday. Roger Brand has the latest from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we've still got some slow traffic, Megan. It's not terrible, but it's still busy. Eastbound 75th Street into the Rock Road, southbound 270, Olive down Ladue. That's the only slow part there. Now, eastbound 64, a little busy through the Chesterfield Parkways and then east of Lindbergh through the Interbelt. South 170, a couple of busy spots from south of Oliver, Delmar down to 64. Northbound 270, you've got slow stuff approaching 44 all the way to Ladue. South 270, Oliver, Ladue is kind of off the pace. Northbound 55, Bayless goes all the way up through Holly Hills. Not a jam all the whole way, but it's pretty busy. I think it's signal problems on Route 3 at Queenie, but we've been backed up all morning through Jerome up to that point, and then it miraculously opens up. Westbound 5570, west of 111 to 203. You've got roadwork slowdowns going on there and roadwork delays on eastbound 270 from 203 most of the way into 111. Downtown westbound 70 is just a little busy at the Missouri end of the Musial Veterans Bridge as well, by the way. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We'll see a mix of sun and high clouds today. It'll be hot and humid this afternoon with a high temperature of 93. Partly cloudy early tonight, then becoming clear late, low 68. Plenty of sunshine and hot tomorrow, but a little less humid for the afternoon. The high 94. The record is 98 from 1954. Hot on Wednesday with sunshine and a few clouds. The high 93. The record 97 was set in 1931. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Thank you, Joe. Right now we have sunny skies, 74 degrees in Florissant. It's 73 in St. Peter, 73 downtown at the Arch. And speaking of those hot, dry conditions, we're going to talk more about that coming up this morning at 8:24. This is Total Information AM on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. AI chatbots aren't always getting the facts right when asked about hot news topics. That's the latest finding from NewsGuard, a service that helps users find reliable information online. Mackenzie Sadaji, NewsGuard's editor for AI and foreign influence, joins me now. Mackenzie, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks so much for having me.
I understand that NewsGuard has been tracking some of these popular AI models to see how they handle likely false claims. Can you give our listeners some insight into the methods that you use to do that?
Correct. So we have been tracking how the leading consumer-facing AI chatbots handle false claims for about the past year or so. And essentially how we've been doing that is we are taking data from our database called our false claim fingerprints. And this is a constantly updated feed of false narratives circulating in the news across a range of topics, including health, US politics, the Russia-Ukraine war, the Israel-Hamas war. And using the data from those fingerprints, we create prompts, just asking basic questions to the chatbot, seeing if they're able to detect and debunk that false narrative or whether they repeat it as fact. And then the second thing we look at is what kind of sources they're citing. So one of our other data sets rates news and information websites across 9 different apolitical criteria points, such as whether they disclose ownership, whether they publish false content, whether they include bylines, and whether they're transparent. And so we'll look at the sources that these chatbots are citing in their responses and seeing whether they're relying on, local, trusted, credible journalism or unreliable foreign linked websites or conspiracy peddling sources.
Let's look at this overall to start with. When you look at how these popular AI models handle false information, what's the big picture? What did you find?
So the big picture really is that within the past year, these chatbots have made major improvements, with the main one being that they can now search the web in real time, which means they can respond to queries relating to current events, whether that's elections or active conflicts or breaking news. And when we started doing these tests a year ago, we found that the chatbots often declined to respond to prompts about current news events because they didn't have access to the internet. They were only trained on a certain amount of news up to a certain specific date. So as an example, during the Trump assassination attempt last year, we ran some prompts through the chatbots and all of them declined to respond, some even denying that any such assassination attempt had taken place because they had no knowledge of it. Now all 10 of the leading chatbots can surface the internet. And as a result of that, they are relying and drawing from unreliable sources that masquerade as legitimate local news organizations. So, for example, the Boston Times, which is a Russian-linked propaganda front, these AI models aren't able to detect and realize that that's actually not a local trusted newspaper called the Boston Times. It's a foreign propaganda website masquerading as local news. So as a result of that, they're pulling from a very polluted information ecosystem and giving authoritative but wrong responses in response to breaking news events.
I know for the first time you've made the ratings for some of the top AI models public. When you look at these, are there any that really just knock it out of the park when it comes to weeding out some of this questionable information?
Yeah, so we found that both Claude and Gemini had the lowest fail rates. Claude only repeated false information 10% of the time, and Google's Gemini chatbot repeated false information about 16% of the time. So that's relatively low when you compare that to the worst performing chatbot, which we found repeated the false claims 56% of the time. And what we found with Claude and Gemini in particular is when they can't find a reliable news source covering the topic that's mentioned in the prompt, they will respond saying there's no reliable news reports about this particular topic. Whereas what we see with a lot of the other chatbots is they will draw on the unreliable sources and repeat that information as fact rather than saying there's no credible reporting of this from reliable media. So that seems to be the main difference between those two lowest or highest performing chatbots, Gemini and Claude.
Who was at the bottom of the list?
The bottom of the list was Inflections Pi chatbot, which is a very conversational chatbot. So that was 56%. And then right after that was Perplexity, which we found repeated false information 46% of the time. And then ChatGPT and Meta both each repeated false information 40% of the time.
Now, obviously, from what you're saying, this is not perfect. So from a user standpoint, what should we do when we are using an AI chatbot to verify the information independently?
I think the starting point is really just looking, at least for now, until we see improvements, is treating AI as a starting point for your research, whether that's, looking for sources or just trying to get a general overview, and then going from there and independently verifying that information that the AI model is giving you. We found, across a range of topics, these chatbots not only repeat false information, but they're also prone to hallucinations, which is where they just make up fabricated basic facts about a person's name or age or where they were born. So I think right now we're still at the stage where we can't 100% trust of output that we're getting from an AI model. And I think it's tricky too, because the way these chatbots respond, they're so conversational and they respond with such authority. They don't really include any caveats or limitations to their responses. So to the average user, what the chatbot is saying can come across as very definitive and authoritative and trustworthy. So I think it really comes down to always keeping in mind that anything these models say needs to be independently verified and to just double check what they're saying.
I'm wondering too, and I know the way you explained this is it was NewsGuard that was entering in these questions. Do you think sometimes some of this, out in the real world is user error, that we don't create the right prompts to make sure that the responses are more accurate from these AI chatbots?
From our testing and our evaluations, I think it really has very little to do with how the prompt is crafted. And in our tests in particular, we use 3 different prompt styles, tweaking how the prompt is delivered to the chatbot. So I think it really doesn't have much to do with the prompt and the way it's framed, but more so how these chatbots are processing and evaluating news and information sources. And I think that's what it really comes down to. And the issue really comes down more to events or topics where there's a lack of credible reporting. So we see this a lot with the Russia-Ukraine conflict, which is, actively changing and evolving every day. And in the absence of that reliable, credible reporting, the chatbots don't have anything else to rely on. And as a result, they repeat these false claims as fact.
Is there anything else for you as someone researching this that really stood out to you that you would want our listeners to be aware of?
I think what really stood out to me is just how prominent and long this issue has gone on. So many of these vulnerabilities that we identified in this most recent report, which we issued last week, we had documented and put out many months ago, with the first one being as early as up to a year ago. We, noted the specific problematic sites that these chatbots were relying on and treating as authoritative. We noted the particular narratives that they were prone to repeating. And I think that's what stood out the most, is that despite a year of reporting and public documentation, not just by NewsGuard, but many other organizations and researchers as well, about some of these key underlying vulnerabilities when it comes to news information, they still have not been addressed, which I think, really raises concerns about where the focus and the priority is with the AI companies and what they're choosing to focus on and update.
That is Mackenzie Sadaji, NewsGuard's editor for AI and foreign influence. Thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate it. Let's head now to the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center. Roger Brown, how's it look out there?
Well, it's getting better, Megan, but we still have heavy traffic. This traffic reports the service of Anderson Hospital. Eastbound 270, still kind of slow. 203 into 111 in that work zone. Westbound 64, looks like it may have an incident just past 3rd Street, a little heavy there. We're jammed both ways. Route 3 at Queenie, I believe it was signal problems earlier. Northbound, it's still backed up through Jerome, but southbound's jammed at Monsanto now, so it could be a train crossing at this point. Northbound 55, still a couple of slow spots from north of Bayless up through Virginia. North 270, north of 44 to Ladou's, busy. South 270, Olive down to Ladou's, a little heavy. Eastbound 70, Earth City into the Rock Road, slow. Eastbound 64, Lindbergh through the Interbowl, a couple of busy spots. 64 westbound, Bellevue out through Hanley, and a little slow around Lindbergh and Spady after that. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
And checking that forecast for today, it's going to be sunny, hot, and humid, a high 93. Right now, 73 degrees downtown at the Arch.
Serving the Metro East region with excellence, Anderson Hospital is proud to be named one of Newsweek's World's Best Hospitals for 2025. Experience world-class care close to home. AndersonHospital.org.
Tom Ackerman here. Genesis of St. Charles makes it so easy for you to buy a new car, and their new cars are spectacular. Genesis of St. Charles and the Genesis brand, they just go hand in hand. Genesis of St. Charles, the #1 Genesis dealer in Missouri for 2025. They are Missouri's first and only standalone Genesis dealership. Just a fantastic facility at 5601 Veterans Memorial Parkway. That's off Mid-Rivers Mall Drive and Highway 70. They're closer than you think, but you can test drive from your home. You can buy online, let them deliver to you. Once you get a Genesis vehicle, every purchase, every single one, comes with 3 years of complimentary Genesis service valet. That means complimentary vehicle pickup and delivery, plus a loaner vehicle at no additional cost. If you're in the market for something new, I highly suggest you test drive a Genesis. Genesis of St. Charles.com.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-201-7676, 800-201-7676, 800-201-7676.
Viking, dedicated to creating travel experiences for the thinking person, with programs designed for cultural enrichment on board and on shore. Discover more at Viking.com. That's Viking.com. Viking.com.
Thanks for listening to Total Information AM. I'm Megan Lynch. I just checked the drought map for Missouri, and central and southern portions of the state are now reporting moderate, even severe drought conditions. It's worse than it was just a week earlier when I looked at that. And Illinois also experiencing dry and drought conditions in the southern 2/3 of the state. Let's pull in AccuWeather's Heather Zare now to talk about this. Heather, thanks for joining us this morning.
Hey, my pleasure, Megan.
So why are we seeing such a prolonged dry spell?
Really, the biggest thing that has been working against us has been the fact that we've had a large high pressure area kind of parked over the middle of the country for an extended period. It's been cool and a little bit on the wetter side on the West Coast, on the East Coast, and here in between, we really have stayed for the most part just dry because moisture from the Gulf of America has been cut off. And so we just have not been able to get the rainfall that we would typically still see this time of year.
Where do we stand historically as far as rainfall this time of year?
If you just look at the month of September, the first 2 weeks here that we've gone through now, we are at only 11% of the historical average rainfall that we would usually get, which stands at just under 1.5 inches. If you go back to the 1st of August, it's not quite that dire. You are at about 34%, so about a third of the usual rainfall. So unfortunately, that's been getting worse since the beginning of August.
Talk about the hazards when we do see these kinds of conditions.
The biggest thing, of course, is going to be that as the fuels begin to dry out, it gets very easy to be able to trigger fires. Now, fortunately, one thing that has gone along with this drought and the reasons for it has been that we haven't had a lot of wind to worry about. So if anything were to start, it would be easier to deal with in that regard, but that is still a risk. You, of course, also have a tendency toward being able to get hotter. You just don't have much moisture in the atmosphere to be able to help kind of keep those temperatures under control. That certainly has contributed to the extreme heat that we have been having and are still looking at highs in the 90s, even here for much of this week. And kind of one additional hazard is going to be the fact that your water levels start to drop. And that is not just in terms of what's available for our daily drinking and daily usage, but on the Mississippi as well for barge traffic.
I think the big question that everyone wants to know right now, Heather, and you've probably gotten this a lot, when will we get some moisture here?
And it really doesn't look like I can promise much in the way of any kind of true change to the weather pattern, really, even for the rest of this month. As I mentioned, we're halfway through the month here. These next 2 weeks don't really look like they're going to provide a lot of meaningful opportunities for rain. We do have a possibility to pick up a thunderstorm or two on Friday, and I think there'll be other additional smaller chances coming up, but nothing that's going to signify any strong change to the weather pattern that'll get us regular rainfall.
I'm sure we'll be checking back in. Heather, thank you so much for your time this morning.
You're very welcome.
That is AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zayer joining us this morning here on KMOX.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody. Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
Let's go!
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
Our office computers were from like 2012.
What? They had computers then?
Yeah, I don't know much about new tech.
Apparently.
So I went to Staples and saved big on an AI-powered HP laptop and HP OfficeJet Pro printer, which also came with 3 months of free instant ink.
And we're back in this century. During Staples HP Tech Event, save up to 35% on HP printers and up to 40% on AI-powered HP PCs.
That was easy.
In-store, online, and on the app. Until 11/1, select models only.
It's 8:30. Looks like we still do have some slowdowns out there. Roger Brand has the latest for you from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, getting better overall, Megan. Yeah, it's still busy in spots. In fact, we have trouble out on 70 out west. This traffic reports service at Chesterfield Fence Deck. Looks like there's a crash in the Wright City work zone there, the Wright City rest area. Now, I know there's an overturned semi off the highway. I believe that was in that vicinity. We also had a crash near Forestell reported, but again, the overturned semi, by the way, was on the service road, not on the highway. If you're on eastbound 70 after that, still a little slow, 270 at the Rock Road. Eastbound 64, still busy east of Lindbergh through the Interbelt. Westbound 64, Clayton Skinker to Hanley's heavy. North 270, north of 44, up through 64, slow. South 270, both sides of Olivet's kind of busy. 55, Bayless up through Holly Hills, a little bit heavy. And Route 3 northbound still has that jam from Jerome up to Queenie. Chesterfield Fence and Deck is your premier provider of fences, decks, patios, sunrooms, and more. Call them for a free estimate today. Now offering 48 months interest-free financing on your next outdoor project. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, chesterfieldfence.com. Next update at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sunny, hot, and humid today, a high of 93. Right now we have sunshine, 74 degrees downtown at the Arch. There had been speculation that President Trump may have his eye on St. Louis when it comes to sending in the National Guard. Late last week, Mr. Trump confirmed it. Our Maria Kina has more.
President Trump says while meeting with CEO of Union Pacific, Jim Vena, he suggested, besides Memphis, that the president should send the Guard into St. Louis, given how bad the crime is. St. Louis Police Chief Robert Tracy was asked about that.
At this time, it's not something that's talked about, and really hypothetically, it's tough getting into hypotheticals. I do know that we did have, when we had the No Kings March, when we had several thousand people that were here a couple of months ago, the National Guard was called up by the governor, and then to assist Kansas City and the city of St. Louis. It's something that yes, it was available, but we were able to do things and make sure we kept the city safe, and everybody had a peaceful march, and except for a few that wanted to try to take the highway towards the end of the night, but we were able to dissuade them from doing that. But at that time, the National Guard was there, but it wasn't needed. But you have to work them into the plans if they are going to be here and if they are needed. So you got to do it. You got to have some common sense about how you would do it. But right now, I really can't get into that because it's not a conversation that has even been brought up to this chief or I've heard about until you asked this question. At this time, I would have to deal with that question. Should they come here? And if there's resources that are given to us, then I'd have to figure out a plan on how to deal with that and how to use them in the best way possible for the community.
In addition to the National Guard, St. Louis is going to supposedly receive an increase in FBI agents.
Where they can help us is in these strike forces and investigations and help us with some of the violent crime.
But like the National Guard, there's no firm date for if and when these additional resources will be deployed in St. Louis. Maria Kina, KMOX News.
Your money report is next. It's 8:34.
And the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
8:35, time for your money report, sponsored by Eamon Gatner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. Here's Bloomberg's Denise Pellegrini.
Good morning. Growing number of Americans are using those buy now, pay later options or credit cards to pay for things. And Bankrate says you might want to read the fine print if you're one of them, especially for retail credit cards. The average retail credit card charges more than 30%, the second highest APR since tracking began in 2008. Speaking of interest rates, the Fed is widely expected to cut interest rates when it wraps up its two-day policy meeting Wednesday as the job market weakens. Some traders expect a quarter-point rate cut. Others think the the Fed could cut more or cut again and again later this year. President Trump is predicting a big cut today. And have you ever been on a plane and smelled something like Cheetos, a wet dog, or nail polish? Doctors tell the Wall Street Journal they've been treating some pilots and flight attendants for brain injuries after exposure to toxic fumes on aircraft, with thousands of fume events since 2020. The paper says leaks occur when the air in an aircraft has been pulled through the engine and occurs in many modern planes except the Boeing 787. The FAA says the incidents are rare. The Journal says reports of fume events are rising. With your Money Report, I'm Denise Pellegrini with Bloomberg Business on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Hey, it's Tom Ackerman. Well, I only got 2 out of my 4 picks last night on Underdog in the Bears-Vikings game. Wide receivers, I nailed it. Justin Jefferson, Jalen Naylor, but I missed on the quarterbacks, Caleb Williams and J.J. McCarthy. I thought they'd have more passing yards. But Underdog is the best place to select entries and win money all season long. Maybe you would have picked differently than me. Playing on Underdog is easy. You just choose whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats, and you can win big money. Get your entries right. You can win up to 5,000 times your cash. Download the app today and sign up with promo code TOM and score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code TOM. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call the Lance Story Law Firm today and let us get between you and the IRS. We'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney team who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, DRURY, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Ah, fall is here. Baseball, beautiful weather, and the changing colors of trees and shrubs. When you think of your trees, call family-owned Gamma Tree Experts. Fall is a great time to prune and fertilize your valuable trees. Our staff of certified arborists will survey your trees to determine their needs. Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation. Call Gamma Tree Experts at 314-725-6159 or visit us at gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. YourEyeDoc.com.
Sunny skies, 74 degrees at 104.1 FM KMOX. Here's what's happening. The Federal Reserve facing economic uncertainty and political pressure as it meets this week to decide whether to cut interest rates. Demon Slayer Infinity Castle opened to $70 million this weekend, the biggest anime debut to claim the top box office spot. Coming up on Total Information AM, Debbie Monterrey will look at the fallout over elimination of affirmative action. First, though, we need to get you updated on your ride into work with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We're doing pretty well out there, Megan. This traffic reports a service at Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing, although we still have this crash in the construction zone, eastbound 70, just before the Wright City Rest area. You're jammed about midway back to Warrenton because of it. You get around that 270, the Rock Road's still a little slow. Westbound 64 is seeing some heavy traffic, not only from west of Hampton out through Hanley, but 270 to Mason and Prospect out to 70. Eastbound 64, a couple of slowdowns east of Lindbergh through the Innerbelt. The Innerbelt's bogged down at Brentwood. North 270 still busy. Doherty Ferry to Ladue. South 270 just approaching Ladue is a little slow. Northbound 55, the right lanes at Mattis and all lanes north of Bayless approaching Weber to River Repair a little heavy. And Route 3 northbound still has a jam approaching Queenie. I'm Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Jerry Kelly swings next day installs no matter how late you call. And because they work later every day, they're faster when your equipment just needs fixing too.
That's MVP material.
Yep, simple fix or a full install. Nobody gets you comfortable faster.
JerryKelly.com. Our forecast for today, it's going to be sunny, hot, and humid, a high 93, an overnight low of 68. Right now we have sunshine, 74 degrees downtown at the Arch. Thanks for listening to Total Information AM here on KMOX. Here's Debbie Monterrey.
There has been so much talk in the news about DEI, about affirmative action, about college, about the future of our high school graduates. So where are we actually, and what has been done? Well, The Fall of Affirmative Action is a new book out by Yale law professor Justin Driver, who is going to be in town Tuesday night to discuss this at the Clark Family Branch on Lindbergh. And thank you so much, Professor Driver, for being with us on KMOX.
Thanks for having me.
This is such an interesting topic because affirmative action in college has been something, obviously, that has been talked about for decades. And I'm not sure how closely most people have been following it to know exactly where it stands right now. Students for Fair Admissions versus Harvard was obviously an extremely important ruling. Can you talk a little bit about what that meant and what it means moving forward?
Yes, I think you're quite right that there is a lot of confusion that surrounds this topic right now. 2 years ago, the Supreme Court of the United States in Students for Fair Admissions versus Harvard, what lawyers would call SFFA versus Harvard, eliminated affirmative action. That means that universities have responded by not observing the racial boxes that applicants might check during the application process itself. But one of the difficulties in this area is that the Trump administration has been offering a distorted conception of what the SFFA decision actually means. They suggest that it sweeps a lot more broadly than it actually swept. From my perspective, the decision has been catastrophic. We have seen declining enrollments of Black students at many of our nation's finest universities. The decision does not go as far as the Trump administration believes that it did.
On the right, obviously, they've seen this as a triumph of colorblindness, but is it really ending racial equity? How are students, minority students, moving forward at this point? What does it mean for them?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think that the decision has led to lots of unintended consequences. And even as assessed by conservative lights, the new admissions regime is worse than the one that SFFA toppled. So, for example, in the old model, a Black applicant like myself could check the black box and then write personal statement about why I wanted to study, Proust or string theory or anything else under the university's wide sun. But under the new model, because those racial boxes are no longer there, Black applicants are incentivized to write stories that sound in racial woe and the persistence of racial discrimination. And conservatives have criticized affirmative action, saying that one of the problems is that it instills a victimology mindset. And it seems to me that the new essay-based diversity regime is going to intensify that very victimology mindset that conservatives say they are concerned about.
There's been so much talk about DEI. Where does that go along with affirmative action? We don't hear affirmative action said as much anymore. It's all been about DEI. Are they the same conversation? Are they different branches of the same conversation?
It's a good question. DEI is a boogeyman. In fact, it seems to me affirmative action in higher education would traditionally go to the application process itself. And I would regard DEI as going to the sort of climate on the campus itself and things of that nature. So I would regard them as distinct. I want to back up for a second and say something about this larger moment that we're in. The opinion written by Chief Justice John Roberts in SFFA says eliminating racial discrimination means eliminating all of it. That's what he would regard affirmative action as. But just this week, we saw a decision from the Supreme Court that permitted race to be used as a criterion in Southern California, where authorities are looking for unauthorized immigrants. So there is a real tension with conservatives' claims that they are honoring colorblind constitutionalism when being Latino and in Home Depot is enough to get one sort of thrown against the wall and arrested. So there is, as I say, a real profound tension within conservative argumentation on this issue. And I should also say, by the way, nobody believes in colorblind constitutionalism, full stop. No one believes in that.
Moving forward, though, you say that this, the fall of affirmative action, your book does provide a blueprint for the future. So how do we move forward?
Yes. I was deeply upset about the decision, and I felt compelled to use my understanding of the decision to identify the path going forward. So I try to identify several practical things that universities could implement in order to avoid the declining Black enrollment that many excellent universities have suffered. So, I'll tell you about three of them. One would be preferences for the descendants of enslaved persons. That remains available even after SFFA, in part because of originalism. That's somewhat of a counterintuitive claim, but that's how it works. A second would be for universities to form partnerships with local schools that do not have a track record of sending students to the first-rate university in the region. And a third would be to have box checking of a different sort. So I call this part of the book the fall and rise of box checking. You could imagine applications asking students whether they were born to unwed parents, whether they have a close relative who is incarcerated, or whether they were raised by a single parent, or whether they their parents rent rather than own their home. And what all of these things have in common is that the Chief Justice's opinion says what's forbidden is what he calls race qua race. You'll have to pardon the Latin there, but race for the sake of race. And none of those three models, along with an additional several that I explore in the book, violate Chief Justice Roberts' prohibition on universities treating students on the basis of race qua race.
It is going to be an interesting conversation Tuesday night at the Clark Family Branch. The book is The Fall of Affirmative Action, Race, the Supreme Court, and the Future of Higher Education. Justin Driver is the Robert R. Slaughter Professor of Law at Yale Law School. Thanks so much for joining us on KMOX.
Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed it.
And coming up next on Total Information AM, we're going to tell you about a first-of-its-kind market in the Metro East to help people living in food deserts get some fresh produce and other pantry staples. It's now 8:49.
Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
There is a free event coming up that I don't want you to miss out on because it's about maximizing your Social Security. And yeah, when I first heard that, I thought, well, what can I do? Because it is what it is, right? Well, Jeff Sachs at Sachs Financial wants to make sure that you are maximizing your Social Security, because the difference between the best and worst possible decision of when to start Social Security can be well over $100,000. So this event is coming up this coming Monday and Tuesday. You can pick either day, the 22nd or the 23rd of September. It's at 6:30 at the Lodge de Pere. And all you have to do is go to retiresafestl.com/events, retiresafestl.com/events. More than 90% of all recipients do not maximize their Social Security benefits. So at this workshop, you're going to find out all kinds of information about the system, coordinate spousal and survival benefits, minimize taxes, maximize your personal benefits, all the things you need to know to maximize your Social Security. It's Sachs Financial, SACHS. Register at retiresafestl.com/events.
Mint is still $15 a month for premium wireless. And if you haven't made the switch yet, here are 15 reasons why you should. 1, it's $15 a month. 2, seriously, it's $15 a month. 3, no big contrast. 4, I use it. 5, my mom uses it. Are you playing me off? That's what's happening, right? Okay.
Visit mintmobile.com/radio. Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan. $15 per month equivalent required. New customer offer first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
Here's the tale of the daily med fill. Same old pharmacy, same old bill, but those prices kept rising higher still.
Till the savings wrangler rode in, cool as can be. Have good RX, saving massively.
No plan? Don't matter none. Up to 80% off. Deals are done.
Discounts hitting harder than Ma's chili. Dang. That one little app does all the rest.
Save time and money on prescriptions.
Check GoodRx. GoodRx is not insured.
Hey guys, Kevin Wheeler here for 213 Complex, which you can pick up at Supplement Superstores. With school back in session, you're into a new routine. That routine's going to last. Make it a fitness routine as well. I know that's what I'm doing in advance of the holidays, and I'm using 213 Complex to get it done because what I'm getting is all-day boost to the metabolism, 24 hours a day. I get appetite control, which is huge for me, and all-day focused energy that comes with no jitters. So for you, just go to Supplement Superstores, tell them Kevin Wheeler sent you in. They will give you 30% off the 213 Complex. Find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
It's back, and you're invited to join us in Forest Park, September 19th and 20th, for the 53rd Annual Great Forest Park Balloon Race Weekend, presented by PNC Bank. Attendance is free, and the number of memories and photos you can capture is endless. Special thanks to New Ground International and Blue Moon Brewing Company. The 53rd Annual Great Forest Park Balloon Race Weekend. For more details, visit the events page at KMOX.com.
Welcome back to Total Information AM. I'm Megan Lynch. A source of fresh, affordable produce and other kitchen staples is driving across the river to Illinois. I spoke with Carlton Adams, Chief Operations Officer at Operation Food Search, about Metro Market expanding to East St. Louis.
Metro Market is a mobile farmers market. Metro Market is celebrating 10 years this year. It was started as a graduate school project about 10 years ago. So WashU grad students, with the assistance of Bi-State, that donated a bus, and that's how the name came about. But what we do is we go to areas that the USDA would describe as food deserts, and we bring a farmer's market in mobile form in 2-hour increments to neighborhoods that are in need and facing food insecurity.
And one of the newest ones that you are starting a route to is East St. Louis. Tell us about the need in that community.
So East St. Louis has significant need. There's only one full-service grocery store in that area servicing 18,000 people. So food insecurity is acute there, and we are really thrilled with the partnership with the Jackie Joyner Kersey Food, Agriculture, and Nutrition Innovation Center.
It's my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, that in communities where, they are considered a food desert, that often residents will go, for example, to a convenience mart and pay much higher prices for food that may not always have the most nutritional value.
Megan, that's exactly right. So part of food insecurity is being far away from something like a full-service grocery store that has nutritious food and a lot of choices that you can make on how to feed yourself and your family. But you're right, in areas that are experiencing that kind of acute food insecurity, they just don't have that kind of access. And stores like the ones that you described, convenience stores, really are not as invested in fresh fruit and produce and the types of nutritious proteins that we would like folks to have on a regular basis to consider themselves food secure. And so that's exactly what farmers markets bring you, and that's what we are bringing to communities with the Metro Markets, and coming into East St. Louis with the Metro Market as well.
Now, are you able to provide maybe a little bit of a discount or a lower price for residents because of the volume that you have through Operation Food Search?
First of all, yes, we are providing this food at below market cost. So, we were bringing just grocery store prices to those communities, it wouldn't really meet the need in that same way. But we're able to do that through generous donations and multiple donors that have supported Operation Food Search over, most or all of our 44 years. So it really does depend on organizations, which includes the commercial grocers like Straub's or Schnucks or Deerbergs that support us, but also other generous foundations, Missouri Foundation for Health or Bear Foundation, that are very generous donors so that we can suppress those prices below market.
What do you see once you bring Metro Market into a community? What happens? What are the benefits then?
So I think part of it, Megan, is that it brings community in a way. Just like if you visited farmers markets, and I'm sure many of your listeners do and have, it is a community experience. So you're learning about the product, you're sharing with neighbors that are interested in, really nutritious food in ways that you don't always get in, I guess, a more commercial setting. And so because we come on a regular basis, we get to know when the stops are. Obviously, we can come to our website, stlmetromarket.org, and find our schedule. But folks are coming to really expect that service. They knew back when we had buses instead of trucks that are really built for purpose that deliver the service, they recognized the bus and they would come to the stops as they're advertised. But it really does create a sense of community.
So this will be a weekly event now from now on?
Yes. So we're, again, very excited to be at the Jackie Joyner Kersey Community Center every week. The Metro Market started out as more of a seasonal offering, and now we've gone to full year round. So that's another part of this expansion. One other thing I would mention is we have, through dedicated volunteers as well as staff, learned to deliver our markets indoors at pop-up markets. So not only delivered by a mobile source tied to a truck, but the ways that it suits the community the most, which also helps us when it's cold, super cold outside. If we have a place to be indoors, we can put the market indoors, and the center will be one of those locations.
That is Carlton Adams, Chief Operations Officer at Operation Food Search. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
John Hancock is in for Amy today. I'm Chris Ranji. We will talk to Chris Cillizza about the heightened political tensions happening in the country right now after the Charlie Kirk murder. Also, the Cardinals begin their final homestand of the regular season. That's all coming up on the Chris and Amy Show right after the news on KMOX.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Zero Res Carpet Cleaners. So I love the fall. As you know, I've been waiting for fall now. It just seems like for so long. Football, back to school, the crisp air, it's a great time to nest. Zero Res is giving you a great fall offer. 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $129. Take $75 off